true to bring back a custom just for you, a dowry's charm to rekindle the fire. In a world where romance might expire, he'd gather gold with wit and flair, pledging his heart beyond compare. For in the shimmer of that old dear gold lies a tale of love, both brave and bold.
Welcome in, folks. Hope everybody's doing okay. Shadrach, I like your profile picture. Geo for show. You got an interesting profile picture also. I seems like kind of a surrealist. Hey Peter, welcome in. Oh, I like that. The gold pill. Great to see you. Just gonna wait a few minutes, see if some folks come in. Then we got some videos to watch. This is the one I'm looking at today. And I got some other videos too. I like this video with Pearl reacting to TikToks of women who regretted signing a prenup. I thought was pretty good. This one might do well. And then we got Wizard Liz, so we'll see how this goes. Shaw in the house. Well, thank you, Gio. Elena, hey Elena, welcome in. It's good to see you. So nothing too crazy on the reactions tonight. Really just here to hang out. I really should be making more Lunchcast videos is what I'm supposed to be doing, so hopefully we can get that going. Waiting for Klaus to pop in any minute now. Once he does that, then we'll for sure be good to go. So we got 5 viewers, 7 viewers, 3 likes. Guys, if you can hit that like button, that helps me. That helps me. And after this, we'll play one more song, and then we'll just start reacting. We don't got no time to wait. We want to get straight to the fun right now. Believe me, I hear that. So I hope everybody's week was good. And that you guys managed to avoid major pitfalls out there while having fun at the same time. NZSW 1975, great to have you in here. Appreciate everybody who comes in here right at the beginning of the stream. This kicks the stream off. It keeps the stream alive. So I appreciate y'all. You know, I was thinking about how many people I've had to ban throughout my last few years of doing YouTube. And when I think about it, I'm like, you know, it's always good to ban people when they're giving you trouble, you know. There's no such thing as building up a YouTube audience on an audience of people who don't respect your stuff, you know. So I'd rather just keep doing that, keep banning folks if I got to. Right. One more song. Hopefully Klaus comes in. It's okay if he doesn't, but you know, be nice. Be nice to have Klaus in here. Okay, so we have that one. Let's see what another good song is. Oh man. Man, let's get some Dan the Man in here. Haven't heard this one in a while. Shoulda listened to Shaw. There we go. It's always great to catch a live shot. Well, I appreciate that, Elena. It means a lot. Thank you so much. I'd love to see you react to, or at least watch out the video by YBC Too Cold titled AI Girlfriend, The Nail in the Coffin. Well, I'll tell you what, let's see if I can find that video. Just give me a second. YBC Too Cold. Like, I won't lie, like, I usually, the AI stuff doesn't attract me so much, like, in terms of, like, stuff I'd watch, because I'm always like, you know, AI women, like, in my mind, I've already told myself that an AI girlfriend would never appeal to me, but I can watch the video. All right, I found it here, actually. so this is it. Well, you know what? Let's just have that ready. How about that? Then maybe we can watch it. So let's see. Then AI Chad with better hardware steals your AI GF. That's a funny. I mean, you know, maybe it's worth watching. Maybe we can do that one tonight. So thanks for suggesting stuff. You know, I always forget to do this, but every time I make a Lunchcast video, I always want to say at the end, guys, if you have any stories, feel free to email me. I'll read your story or something. And I always forget to say that because people used to send me stuff back then. I also like that as a format, like if it's a story you wanted to share. Klaus might join us later. Yeah, looks like yo, Dan the Man, welcome in, brother. Yeah, Klaus ain't here yet. Well, that's all right. 2 more minutes on the song. Actually, 1.5 minutes on the song. So hopefully he comes. I'd love to know what Paul Elam thinks of the vid and where we are headed on the feminism train. That'd be an interesting thing to ask Paul about AI. What his thoughts are on that. Well, AI girlfriends particularly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I wonder what he'd think, you know? That's a good question. He's going to have Matt Cross on for his guest this Wednesday. I don't know if you guys watched last week with Terrence Pop, but I really enjoyed last week's episode of Repairing the Manosphere, which is Paul's new podcast. Please check that out every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The recent videos of Oprah from Manosphere Highlight Daily are good. That sounds pretty good. I haven't actually seen his channel in a while. I used to watch him a lot more. Manosphere Highlights Day. I'm not like as subscribed to as many channels as I used to be in the space. Let's see. See if we could find it. Videos. Oprah videos, huh? Maybe it's an older one. I'm not really seeing her, but you know, I'm sure he always makes like some pretty decent stuff. All right, that's enough of the music. Okay. I just finished watching them. Okay. Well, you can always share it in the Discord. You know, I might be able to pull that up. I do got a good amount of videos tonight. There's this one. It's from a smaller YouTuber. He has just under 2,000 subscribers, but he had a pretty big video. And I think I watched part of it, or I maybe just like a minute and saved it. I don't know how good it is, but it seems like it's pretty good, so I figured why not, you know. I wanted to tag him, but I could not find his channel. Maybe I was just doing a bad job of that. And then this video was pretty funny from Pearl that I had to save it to react. Also, Wizard Liz. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but I've seen her like over the years, and she kind of had this like, she was sort of like an Andrew Tate figure, kind of like a guru, but for women. And she's, you know, she's got her advice or stuff like that, like how to manipulate the guys or whatever the hell the advice happens to be. And I heard recently that she basically, like, she talks all this stuff about, you know, high value man this and how to get married or whatever the hell her thing. I don't even watch her stuff, so I'm doing a bad job of describing her. And she ends up like, there was some controversy where like, I guess she fell for this guy and a lot of her audience felt betrayed, or I guess she was getting married to him. So she ends up having this guy's kid, and he's a US citizen. She's not. She has the kid in the US, and then she has to like leave because she went on vacation and couldn't come back because of her visa. So now the guy has custody of her kid, and she kind of got like the short end of the deal of the stick, but I guess it's sort of interesting because she has this huge YouTube channel where she gives out all this advice, and then she made some mistakes for herself. So I was thinking that might be kind of an interesting one to go over as well. So yeah, that's a whole thing, but it's also so gossipy that like, it's almost like, I don't know. I saved this video, but it might also end up being kind of boring. So that's kind of where we're at on that. So yeah, that's all of them. And then this is the one that was suggested here by Geo for Show. Maybe we can watch this. about the AI girlfriends. So yeah, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I forgot. And then there's this one, why Gen Z isn't buying the wedding industry scam. It's from someone named Ashley Embers. I watched part of it, and I guess I decided to save it because it was worth saving. So we got a lot of stuff to choose from tonight, honestly. I don't know how long I'll stream, I guess till I get tired. So yeah. Hey, Alan Kuruvia, welcome in. Thanks for being here. By the way, Rich Cooper mentioned something on his stream. Basically, I actually did save that. Maybe I'll wait for when there's more. Basically, he mentioned that him and I will be doing a podcast soon about the dowry, so that'll be coming in some amount of time. But he mentioned it on his stream, so I think it's okay for me to mention to you guys. But that's coming down the pipeline, which should be pretty cool. Thanks for joining, Alan. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming in. If you don't mind sharing, I'd love to hear how you kind of found the channel. Yo, Yellow Pilled Programmer. Always good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. The ones with Oprah shows Esther's face in the thumbnail. Got it. I send them on the Discord server. Perfect. All right, well, I appreciate that. I feel like I might be... Am I missing anything? Hey, I think Klaus just came in. Okay, well... All right, finally, we can go ahead and do the stream now. One more thing... Oh, damn it. I don't have that one. Somebody sent me a... You know what? I'm going to pull up the Rich Cooper part. Just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. Check this out.
News article, but this one's from Greece, or Greek Parliament.
Oh my God, my computer's so slow. It just makes me want to...
Grab Frankie's call over here, and I got one or two more tabs that I want to touch on before we wrap up.
Oh, that's weird.
Frankie,
it's not showing me that... There it is. Man, my computer's slow.
He's got a smaller YouTube channel.
Hey, look, that's him talking about me. Yay!
With a dowries, which over here that I want to get into with you guys, which is the notion of dowries, which is interesting because I'm going to do a show in a couple weeks with a fella that he's got a smaller YouTube channel, but we're going to hop on his and talk about it. Let me put this up on the screen here. So here are some clips.
Yeah, see, so this is a response that I did to Rich Cooper on Twitter, and he liked my response. I included some sources, so we're going to be having a discussion. There's also a short by him. You know what? I don't care how long it takes. Someone sent me a short, and I have to clip it into a soundbite because I thought it sounded so good. Let me just, here's the short. Oh, it's on Twitter. Okay, it's not on his YouTube. Let me pull that up real quick. Sorry, I want to share it with you guys because I'm excited. So, yeah, that's coming down the pipeline. We'll be having a chat with Rich Cooper, which I think will be pretty cool. He's been in the space a long time. Interested in learning more about the history of dowry. So that's going to be our, time to make the case to Rich and hopefully have a fun discussion, basically. So, yeah. Okay. Always got to be careful with Twitter. I feel like this thing will just want to go to some random video that I do not want to showcase on my stream. Okay, so... And I'll start that from the beginning. So this is from Rich Cooper. He says, marriage, a transaction, not always about love. Historically, it's been about business. Acquiring in-laws and assets, not affection. A dowry was often the price of entry. So he made a short. I'm not sure what stream this is from, but I really appreciated the short.
He's making you prove your worth based on money. You're having to buy your way into this relationship. Yeah, that's the other part of it too. Sorry, I didn't deal with that. A marriage is it's a transaction. It's a transaction at the end of the day. Okay, it's not about love. There's a book Stephanie Kuntz wrote years ago. It's called The History of Marriage. She dives deep into court records, into personal diaries throughout history, every record they could possibly find throughout history. And the basis of marriage has always been the acquisition of in-laws. It's always been a business transaction. But you get guys like Dave Ramsey that's like, oh, he's making you prove your worth based on your... Like, You go back 500 years, you go back 1,000 years. If she didn't come to the table with a fucking dowry,
That part right there needs to be a sound effect for the board. I think I'm gonna have to add that one. So I gotta hear that again.
on your like, you go back 500 years, you go back 1,000 years. If she didn't come to the table with a fucking dowry, bunch of
Honestly, even if you go back 200 years, even less than that, in a lot of Western places too.
sheep, some land, a couple of acreages or whatever, there was no marriage for the most part.
Yeah, it's like, what marriage? Like what money? You don't got any money? Like what are you talking about marriage for? Like, hightail it to that building behind the tavern. Like, you know, that might be more appropriate for you. But yeah, I got to make this one.
Of in-laws. It's always been a business transaction. But you get guys like Dave Ramsey that's like, oh, he's making you prove your worth based on your, like, you go back 500 years, you go back 1,000 years. If she didn't come to the table with a fucking dowry, bunch of sheep, some land, a couple of acreages, or
That's going to be good. Yeah, and you know, especially when it comes to monogamy, the beauty about the dowry discussion, as you guys know, having listened to my channel for so long, is that this is very specific to monogamous setups, you know, so this gets right to the heart of what tradcons are trying to sell. And so it's, you know, it's source after source. I've been pulling up so many of them. It's not even funny at this point. We got 12 people watching and we got 6 likes. If we can go ahead and get those likes up, man, that would be great. That would help me out a ton. That would certainly help me out. So yeah, let's go ahead and get our reaction started. Huge, man. Every time I play that sound effect, that's my favorite sound effect, Klaus. And I can't play it because every time I do, it copyrights the stream. Which isn't the end of the world. You know, if we really need to play the sound effect, we will. But, you know. Okay, I won't do it. I might make a smaller sound effect of that just says, what's wrong with her? She's got huge tracts of land. Hey, Luke, welcome in. Great to see you. I don't want no... okay. Oh my God. Look, I can't remove the... Oh, okay, I did it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and see. So this is from a gentleman, Luke Durand. Shout out to Luke. Let's see what Luke's got to say. It's a 12-minute video. I didn't understand marriage until I got divorced.
Most men I know don't realize what they've signed until it's too late. I didn't realize it until I got divorced. If you're in your 50s watching this, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're in...
He does seem like an older gentleman who's probably had a lot of life experience. So let's see what wisdom he has to pass over to us.
anything like me, when someone asks if you'd ever get married again, the answer is a resounding no, never again. And it has nothing to do with how I feel about the woman I'm with. Nothing.
It's kind of funny because it's like, I feel like the generation right before him, like, I think this guy's, you know, younger than a boomer, right? But the generation typically right before him, it seems like they would get married like 2, 3, 4 times. He, you know, he might be like older Gen X, and then right after that, they're like, no. I followed the script.
So looking back, if I'm being totally honest about why I actually got married, is because I thought that was just what you were supposed to do. I met her, I fell for her, and we'd been together for 5 years. And at that point, you just start to feel this kind of pressure.
Yeah, well, we know that pressure is, you know, there's a whole subreddit. It's called Waiting to Wed. And around that time, the woman really starts to, and it's not just her, I guess. It's really all of gynocentric society starts to push you into, well, so when are you guys gonna, well, when are you gonna do right by that woman? You know, when you're gonna get married? Everybody starts asking you. She starts hinting at it. She wants you to propose and all this kind of stuff. We've all heard the stories.
Not necessarily from her, but
socially.
Just socially.
Like you said.
It's like there's this.
There was a subtitle there behind my camera, so I didn't guess what he said. I saw it.
Unspoken rule that makes you think, well, this is the next thing, right? This is what adults do. You meet, you get serious, you get the ring, and you settle down. I didn't propose because I always dreamed about becoming a husband. I did it because I felt like it was the next natural step. I mean, first you meet someone, then you meet the friends, then the family, then you move in together, you buy a flat or a house, and then you get married, right? For most people, that's the order of how life happens, more or less.
I think most of us had that same idea too. Like that was the plan, right?
And as far as I was concerned, I ticked all the boxes up to buying the flat. So the next step was marriage. Plus everyone else around you is doing it, so you just think, I guess it's my turn. I'd be curious to know how many of you follow the same path or something close to it, where
I'm sure a lot of you guys probably felt that pressure. Maybe I'll make that a poll. Did you feel pressure to get married when you started seeing others in your age group start to get married? Man, this is a really question's way too long. Get married. There we go. Probably not the best poll question, but this will wake some of y'all up. Anyways,
even though you were the one who asked, deep down, it wasn't really a conscious decision. You were just going with the flow and didn't really think about it that much. And look, I'm not judging anyone here. I'm saying this because in hindsight, I've realized I was that guy. I fell in love and I thought it was the right thing to do, but I want to put the question to you. Did you actually choose it or did you just follow along?
yo, Gio, my girl pressing me for marriage right now. If you don't mind sharing like one or two ways in which she's kind of hinting at this or pushing you to it, I would just be interested. I feel like I can almost guess. I'm just curious.
Let me know in the comments below. So here's the thing about getting married. When you're in it, especially when you're younger, you don't really think about divorce. If you are thinking about it before you've even signed the papers, that's a massive red flag and you probably shouldn't be standing there in the first place. But for most of us, we don't think like that. You're caught up in it. You're full of hope. You're convinced she's the one or...
Yeah, well, if you even start to ask questions about and you start bringing up things like prenup, they're going to be like, well, don't you love her? Why are you planning for failure? You're going to get divorced if you're planning for failure. Someone quite literally left a comment on my last Lunchcast saying that. So sure of themselves, too. Dan the Man 680. Huh, Dan the Man, did you change your name? Maybe because I'm still young, I haven't heard it yet. Yeah, I think as, you start to approach 30 or just around there, once you hit a 5-year mark, it seems to really come up. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to bring this up on the Reddit now. I recently started following the subreddit again, and I don't know why. It's just like such a thing that's grown. Like this is the subreddit waiting to wed. And if you sit here and just watch these posts, leaving after 13, 14 years, feeling relieved yet sad. Left him and now I'm freezing my eggs. Okay. When was the moment you realized your partner was not going to propose and get married to you? After 6 years, my boyfriend says he hasn't proposed because I'm not nice enough. Yeah, see, this is really the time where they're dragging them along because as soon as they sign the paper, the leverage is going to change. And most of the time from a lot of these, they don't really mention the income situation. You know what I mean? I can get lost in these. Damn, man, she wrote a whole novel over here. Oh my gosh. 25, 27, have been together for 6 years through the last year of college. We didn't become official until I moved in with him during COVID. Okay, so she moved in with him. Okay, so they were just kind of, doing what they were doing, but they weren't serious, okay? Yeah, I don't gotta, I'm actually not even gonna go into that whole thing. What's this one? How do you find the strength to leave someone? So 5 months ago, she was trying to. So she was the one in love. Okay, so she was on the receiving or on the giving end of that love there. 31, BF is 30, together for 3 years, lived together for 2. He comes from an extremely religious and conservative family. Despite our long relationship, he has never introduced me to his family. Okay, so it looks like she left him, and now she's freezing her eggs. So anyways, yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing. I just wanted to point that out. Also, I got an image for when you and Rich Cooper meet up. All right, let's check that out. Let's look at the AI images. Oh, man, here it is. Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool to have a cigar with Rich Cooper, man? That would be so cool. Man, I was just looking at a picture of Paul Elam and I having a cigar. And it really made me want to have a cigar. Thanks for that picture, Dan, man. I appreciate that. Let me just end this poll real quick. Okay. Just so we don't have that swirling around. Oh, man. Yeah, cigar would be pretty nice right now. Dang it, I can't. I think it said, what, 71% of people said yes, that they did feel pressured. Gosh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, that's a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has, you know. Yeah, I changed my name. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, the typical commitment manipulation things like, I don't feel safe / secure. I don't feel safe. You're not committed to me. The only way I feel safe in this relationship is if you're, oh God, that word safe. I don't know. That word has been gutted. I don't know, like that. If you hear that word safe, I don't know if it means what it used to mean anymore. The only way I feel safe in this relationship is if you're committed to me. And the only way equals ring. Dun, dun. Oh, damn. She's trying to lay it down on you, bro. And you got to be like, baby, I really want to marry you. I can see us together for the rest of our lives with 2 children and a beautiful home with the white picket fence. I'm just waiting for you to tell me how much your dowry is. I didn't want to be so upfront and ask, but after 5 years, you still haven't mentioned to me anything about it. And she's going to be like, huh? What's that? And then you got to hit her with the CGA.
There was a dowry or a bride price.
And then, let her know. And then say, you need her to print out a copy of her credit report so that she can compare it to yours. And then you want to see her last W-2. And then so you guys can compare that and you want to see her savings. You know what I'm saying? And figure out how you're going to solve this $1 million issue of buying a house and raising 2 kids. And if she doesn't have a good answer for that, then tell her that you don't feel safe. You got to be like, Gio, you got to sit there and say, I don't feel safe right now. I want to feel safe. And the only way for me to feel safe marrying you is when you have a dowry,
Herbert, we live on a bloody swamp. We need all the land we can get.
Something like that. And if she says this or any variant of it,
I have no dowry. If anything, I have a negative dowry.
Then yeah, she ain't ready. She ain't ready to be upgraded to marriage. Thank you for sharing that, Gio. I appreciate that. Alan says, turning 26 on Monday and recently heard of the gold pill and think it's quite interesting. Looking forward to learning more about it. Hey, man, well, you know what, man? Just because you're new here, I'm going to do something special for you. I've been saving this one for a lunch cast, but I'm going to do this just because you're new, because you came in here fresh-faced. You came in here excited. You didn't come in here with like pithy statements trying to be Mr., debate bro, tough guy. You came in here willing to learn. And because of that, I need to find a special paper. Here it is, St. Louis Star-Times. Oh my gosh, look at this beautiful. You know what? We're going to learn about the dowry right now. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do it for Alan. God bless you, Alan. This is a paper. Okay, I want you to see that. I'm showing you the whole paper because it's, it's real. And it's from the St. Louis Star-Times. Okay, Alan? Tuesday evening, June 23rd, 1936, right? That's almost 100 years ago. and it's called Reviving Dowry for Modern Brides. Okay, so it's a real all-American piece of history right here. This is special. I just excavated this one. And before we read this, brother Alan, I want you to experience the amazingness of this picture. Like, look at this piece of artwork right here. Wow. Look, see, like that's the groom. That's the bride. Look how excited they are. They're about to get married. But, you know, before they get married, they got to figure out the practical stuff. Here's the new soon-to-be father-in-law right here. And, you know, what is this? Oh, are those coins? Are these bags of coins? And look at that. He's like putting it on there to match her weight. How amazing is that? See, that's what a dowry is. Wow. Wow. Okay, but anyways, let's go ahead and start reading. How about we do that, Alan? I'm going to leave your chat on screen just for you, bud. Reviving Dowry for Modern Brides. Insurance survey in 160 cities indicates bestowing of financial gifts on marriageable daughters is increasing in America. Now, so around this time, you know, you had the Great Depression going on, and life was getting hard, you know. Wages weren't good. Cost of living was high. Kind of similar to today, a little bit. Okay? Let's get married and live with the old folks. Putting it bluntly, that was pretty much the custom during the Depression years, when couples very much in love found that the only way out was to marry, live with either his or her parents, and trust to luck. Kind of reminds you of a lot of millennials, right? The crazy part is, I think if you look up the years of the Depression, it actually covers from before this to after when this was written. But what's interesting is seeing an article from that time. So they must have thought they were past the worst of it, but not really. So it's kind of explaining how this Depression era affected, you know, these kinds of things. Okay. Yeah, so live with either his or her parents and trust in luck. How about the summer of 1936? Has the young swain become more self-reliant, or does he still lean heavily upon the family pocketbook? A survey of pastors in 160 American cities by a large insurance company discloses that the dowry system, patterned after the long-established European custom, okay, see, that's European, that's Western, is still holding on. Particularly is this true among the moderately well-to-do. Many parents are giving financial help to prospective grooms to make marriages of children possible. Sounds like a dowry. Some oppose the dowry on the ground that it injures ambition of the children and makes them forever reliant on the elders. On the other hand, one pastor pointed out that where a man contributes a professional training, the girl ought to bring more to him than just herself. Yeah, that sounds like a dowry ethos right there. Stretching the imagination a little, one might conceive this scene as a father with a marriageable daughter surveys a young man of her acquaintance and approaches him with this offer. Young man, as you know, Matilda is getting to the age where she should have a home and a husband of her own. If you're interested, I can offer you a 6-room house in the suburbs. 6 rooms? Dang. A job in my hat factory and $1,000 in cash. And that was a lot of money back then. How about it? The young man says, make it $2,000 and I'll take her. The prospective father-in-law writes out a check and the wedding is set for a week from Monday. Of course, nothing so crude as this is known to have occurred in St. Louis, but a Star Times reporter who questioned several pastors discovered that the dowry system has definitely crashed the gate. Brides are going to the altar accompanied by substantial gifts from their parents. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Heck yeah. Agreeing that financial aid by the bride's parents is a product of the Depression, the men who tie the marriage knots do not give the new custom their wholehearted approval. Okay, here comes the gynocentrism and the chivalry. The Reverend C. Oscar Johnson, pastor of the Third Baptist Church, told the Star Times he thought the young couple should start out with the old-fashioned idea that they're going to live on the husband's salary. Here comes Dave Ramsey from 1936. And get along as best they can. No, give back that $300,000 that, you know, the parents are offering their son that they just want to make sure that the, daughter can't run away with or that his wife can't run away with. But anyway, so be it. Or as the Reverend Ralph E. Alexander of Memorial Boulevard Christian Church put it, when parents of marriageable daughters offer a sort of asylum to the young man, it's certainly going to do something to marriage, and I don't feel it will be all for the good. Man, look at these. Look at these. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. See, that was the fight, between this romantic ethos and the dowry ethos. It seems to me it will create a spirit of dependence rather than of independence that has characterized the American family in the past. The lack of independence is true in general of life today, but it is particularly true in the case of dowries. The opposite point of view was presented by the rabbi of a leading temple who asked that his name be withheld. I got a feeling I'm really going to appreciate what this rabbi has to say. And of course I will, because I've read this before. I haven't noticed any increase of the dowry custom, he stated, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it anyway. What's interesting is that the Jewish community was practicing dowries like way past everybody else, even in America. If the parents want to help, it's their pleasure and privilege. Certainly, it's not much different from leaving their children their estate when they die. Exactly. That's what it is. It's the pre-mortem inheritance for the daughter. Of course, I know there's such a thing as the pauperization of young people. They should have the attitude they will succeed or fail together. But really, if parents are able to help and desire to, they're foolish if they don't do it. All right, well, hey, man, shout out to this rabbi over here. I appreciate what he's saying. Closely related to the dowry question is the modern day problem of working wives. See, you see how we have a nexus of all these things? There's like a move from the dowry system. There's this new version of masculinity. Some of these pastors over here are becoming, like gynocentric in this way or are steeped in it. Then you have the women starting to work. So anyways, almost to a man, the pastors agreed that more and more couples are entering marriage with the expectation that the bride will continue at her job. Well, I don't know, then maybe give her a dowry so that she doesn't have to do that. Dr. Johnson estimates that half the couples he has married this year represented cases of working wives. The tendency is increasing all the time, he said, and it isn't a healthy sign. So many of these marriages break up because the wife's job is better than the husband's, and she comes to think she can't get along. She comes to think she can get along better without him. It's so crazy that this is in 1936, and they're seeing this, A lot of people kind of go to like the 1950s, and they're just like, oh, everything was great, but we're getting the look inside right now. I'd rather marry and live in a little room with the peg on the wall and hang my meal sack on it and say this is ours than seek all the luxuries that people seem to think are necessary nowadays. The Reverend Mr. Alexander put the same sentiment into different words. When the bride works after marriage, he said, the young couple is establishing just a roosting place instead of a home. And apparently working outside the home establishes a feeling of independence in the bride that is hardly conducive to peace and harmony in the family. But dowry or no dowry, love will find a way. See, this is the blue pill. And perhaps those inclined to put a lot of faith in love will find substantiation in the fact that the marriage license office is much busier this year than it was in 1935. So interesting history right there, Alexander. I did that for you, man. It's nice to see some new folks in here. So yeah, you could kind of see like economic times making things harder. You got a dowry system kind of resurrecting in the shadows. A lot of these people are steeped in this kind of blue-pilled romantic chivalry, and there's this newer idea of masculinity that's almost like uniquely American and British. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, to me, something like this is exciting to me, because I'm seeing what happened. I hope it's as exciting to you as well. So yeah, shout out to you, man. Thanks for joining us. Alan. I might have called you Alex once. Sorry about that. Alan Kuruvia. Okay, so yeah, awesome. Fun stuff. Also, to keep it real, my chick need a green card. Oh man, okay, I see. So she's putting it. Oh, okay, so the pressure's turned up on her right now, huh? She's got real good behavior going on. Well, just, even more reason she should get that dowry faster. See if she can get grandpa or grandma on the phone. See what they're willing to contribute to the pot, you know. I was thinking you and Paul or others like CGA could do a sit-down cigar discussion once a couple months. Man, that would be like a dream thing. I honestly would really like to see Coach Greg Adams appear on Paul's show, Repairing the Manosphere. I don't know if CGA would. I think he has like a respect for Paul because he's mentioned him before on a show. But at the same time, like Coach's content is, you know, he's Hollywood CGA now. I was lucky enough to meet Coach. You know, he signed my book. I was able to have a cigar with him. I know shortly after that, he had his debate with Andrew Wilson, and I remember him kind of saying, like, beyond that, like, if anybody wants to collab, he's going to charge them hella money. He's kind of over the collab stuff. But who knows? Maybe he would make an exception for Paul. That would be pretty sick, you know. You know, maybe. You never know. Ask her about her dowry. Exactly. Dan the Man's got it. Jill says she broke up with me when I mentioned dowry. She knows the only way to marriage is where they saw the prenup and something to offer dowry. Okay, good. So you've breached it. She expects me to buy the house because I'm the man. Yeah. I don't know. You know, it might be worth to keep working on her, but you know, if not, you know, it just sounds like she ain't. She's not exactly qualifying, but you know, interesting, definitely interesting. Could you tell us how you heard about the gold pill? I don't feel. Oh yeah, that's for Alan. Good question, Dan. I don't feel safe, babe. Where's my dowry? Exactly. The father-in-law has said many times he plans to pass nothing down and spend everything he made. He is a greedy boomer. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm glad he at least said that, so you know. Maybe he's just saying that to be a hard ass, but probably he's also telling the truth. That's a tough one right there. My grandma was 3 years old when that article came out. Different times. Hey, Don DeMarco, welcome in, man. Yeah, different times, man. Dan said, I just got curious and I Googled just dowry. Apparently dowries are illegal and unenforceable. Well, in the US, they're not illegal. They're just, they don't really exist in the law like that. So there's no law to enforce it, but it's not prohibited, at least not here in the US. I would be interested where you saw that they're illegal. It's more so that it's just not in the law here, so to speak. Some places it is prohibited, in some countries it is. That's an issue. But a lot of other places, they've more so abolished it rather than outright making it illegal, you know. Let's see. Thank you for the kind welcoming and introducing me to this content. I appreciate it. No worries, man. Thanks for being here. All right, well, we could get back to the show. Hope y'all enjoyed that aside.
You're sure it's for life, so you end up signing this massive legal contract.
Just a second. We got 22 concurrent viewers and 10 likes. If the other 12 of you, I know it's a pain in the ass, man. I know you got to sit here and you got to roll over. You were just about to fall asleep in bed, and I'm asking you to look at your really bright phone and hit the like button. And I don't like doing that either. But man, if you did that for me, I would really appreciate that, you know, because we can take that to an over 50% like ratio to the viewers. So if you can just do that, that would be fantastic. Some of you are probably shaving, looking in the mirror while you're listening to me on your iPad. You know, if you can just kind of just wipe your hand with the towel to get some of that stuff off of it and just hit the like button, that would be fantastic. So anyways, let's get back to it. That's what y'all came here for.
Without ever actually reading the fine print. The only kind of legal advice you get is whatever the priest or the registrar says for 5 minutes during the ceremony. And let's be honest, you're not listening to a word of it anyway.
Well, you know what they should really call it? I used to call the divorces that I've seen Happy Meal divorces, because it's like they made divorce so easy with no fault, especially where I live, that it's like this, like, they're like these really cookie cutter divorces where it's like the lawyers, you know, they're just using templates. And back when I was working at child support, I would just call it a Happy Meal divorce. Likewise, what he's describing is a happy meal marriage. Like, nobody knows the family codes. Even if you read them, most people probably wouldn't truly understand what they were saying unless you consulted an attorney. But back in the day, like, they used to have something called the marriage settlement. Nowadays, if you get divorced, you get something called a divorce settlement. Okay, like a divorce settlement agreement. And that's, most people would know what that is, or at least enough people who've been divorced would understand that. Nobody remembers what a marriage settlement was. There used to be a settlement agreement at the time you got married, and a lot of that settled the assets of what was being brought into marriage. This included things like the dowry. We need to bring marriage settlement agreements back. So very important.
You're too overwhelmed by the suits, the crowd, the bride, of course, because she looks beautiful, and a whole experience. And look, I get it. In that moment, it's not about a contract. It's about love. It's about standing
It's about love. There it is.
up in front of your family and saying, yeah, this is my person. All of that is 100% real. I'm not dismissing it. Of course, the party's great, the speeches are moving, but at the end of the day, there is a cold, hard legal contract. And it's
Yeah, and it's like, it's so hard to even call it a contract. It's really just, nowadays, it's the laws, and there's a license that kind of makes you beholden to those laws that you sign. It's not even like a true marriage contract like we used to have.
got consequences that last a lot longer than the wedding day. Most of us absolutely have no idea what we're actually signing away until it's far too late. So whenever someone asks me what I think about marriage these days, I always respond the same thing. I only understood marriage the day I got divorced. That's when it became real. That's when the contract...
Oh yeah, when you're sitting there talking to your lawyer and the lawyer's explaining what's about to happen to you, or you're talking to your, county child support agent, and he's trying to explain, he or she's trying to explain what this is looking like.
I'd signed finally kicked in. And look, this is what most men don't realize until they're sitting in a solicitor's office. In England, for example, the law sees everything you've built during that marriage as a shared pot. The house, the savings, the investments, and this is
the community property, right? This is what Dave Ramsey was upset about. He wanted that $300K to be immediately into this community pot.
the one that catches people out, the pension. My ex-wife could have taken half of everything I'd built up during those years.
Yeah, man, I've talked to a lot of guys who lost half of their retirements and pensions, and that used to hit them pretty hard, man. That was a tough thing. That was the tough thing. I think historically only wealthy men could inquire about dowry. Only wealthy families could prepare dowry. Most women didn't have it, but they were also more likely to be virgins. No, that's I'm sorry, Elena, but that's just not what I'm seeing in the sources. It was up and down the scale. And if you were poor and didn't have a dowry, then like what was going to happen is you just weren't going to get married, basically. Yo, Mountain Man Tops, great to see ya. Great to see you, man. Shout out to you, bro. That's a great profile picture. It's a contract that can be changed by a third party, the state, at any given time without you having any say in it. Yeah, exactly. That's a whole, basically. And if you live in a jurisdiction with common law, you enter the contract without even signing anything. Yeah, those guys got it very different over there. That is something. That is something.
Tens of thousands of pounds maybe, and she would have been well within her rights to do it, even if she hadn't put a single penny into it herself. That isn't bitterness. That's just a legal reality, and it's pretty much the same across most Western countries. Now, thankfully, she didn't. She was actually very reasonable about that one, but plenty of guys aren't so lucky.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
so,
I've talked to those guys.
I still lost the house. I lost that
Lost the house. Here it is, folks. Lost the house.
daytime with my son.
Lost, a lot of custody with the
I
son.
went from being a full-time dad to every other weekend.
Every other weekend from a full-time dad. Terrence Popp was discussing this on his episode with Paul Elam recently here last Wednesday. And I just thought that was a very salient point.
That was my reality for years. And for a long time, I was living in shared accommodation. Imagine that. You're a grown man, you've worked your whole life, and suddenly you're back in a shared house like you're 20 again. All while paying child support every month. You end up paying for a life you don't even live in anymore while struggling just to have a space of your own. And that's when it finally hit me. That piece of paper I signed without a second thought, it just reshaped my entire life. And nobody really...
Man, I wonder, you know, having this discussion with him prior to that, I wonder if he would have listened or if he would have been like even hostile to anybody else suggesting otherwise to him in the beginning. You know what I mean? But it's like, it took losing the house, losing, gosh, 5 days out of the week with your son, almost losing half your pension to finally be like, you know what, maybe that contract was a really bad idea. And not to be tough on the guy or anything, but I'm just saying it's kind of emblematic of a lot of people that kind of maybe don't want to hear it, you know? Like, I do wonder if someone laid this all out to him in the beginning, if he would have listened, you know? That's a tough one right there. That's a tough one.
thinks about that when they say, I do.
My nephew and his wife. Okay, what happened to his nephew and his wife?
So recently, my nephew got married. Before the wedding, I had a quick
Oh, he had a conversation with the nephew. Okay, with him and his wife-to-be. All right.
conversation with him and his wife-to-be. And I said to them, do you realize that marriage is actually a legal contract? And they looked
He
at
tried. He tried.
me as if I was coming from...
See that?
Marriage is actually a legal contract. And they looked at me as if I was coming from another planet, genuinely puzzled. Really? Is it? To which I responded, yes, of course it is. What do you think you're signing on the day? And here is the thing, if it doesn't work out, there are real consequences. Everything gets split. Whoever has more loses more.
There you go.
Courts get involved. Your financial future suddenly gets decided by someone who doesn't even know you and who will never have to live with those consequences. They looked at me in complete disbelief. Now, I wasn't trying to burst their bubble or talk them out of it, obviously. I just wanted them to walk in with their eyes wide open. But that conversation alone tells me everything you need to know. Even now, most young people walk into this completely blind. And my nephew and his wife...
And it's like pretty much by design, you could say. It's like the culture has really designed it that way, at least within the last few hundred years, to get men to walk in it blind. If you're a woman, then like if you inquire about this stuff, like you're well within cultural bounds to do that. Nobody's going to look at you like you asked something crazy. They're going to be like, well, of course, the man should take care of you. She needs to know these things. She needs to feel safe, right? Like Gio Fischel was mentioning, the whole safety thing.
to be are not unusual in that respect. They're the norm. Most people getting married have never looked into what they're actually signing. They're signing up for the wedding, the dress, the day, the party, not the contract. And often that's a massive oversight men make. Because when it comes to the contract, and what happens when it actually falls apart, it's men who more often than not end up drawing the short straw.
Okay, the age factor.
And here's the reality of...
All right, let's see what he got to say about age. Gio Fischel says in some Latin American countries, if you let your GF live with you for more than 20 years, or excuse me, for more than 2 years, my apologies, it becomes a legally binding de facto marriage. Concubinado. That's interesting that it seems to have the same root word as concubine there. Interesting. Gosh. Well, I hope you happen to be living with your GF who comes from a family of oil money or something. I don't know if that even makes a difference. They'll probably still, Anyways, thanks for sharing that. If you break up, you could be forced to split 50% of everything you earn during that time or pay her alimony. Watch out, passport bros. As Better Bachelor says with his soundboard, even better, smart men don't get married. Yeah, there you go. The Jax Ali. The number one issue is social media, but it seems like there's no going back. I think you're right about that, Jax. I mean, amongst other things too. You know what I mean? Not just social media, but yeah, going back, probably not going to happen. Thanks for coming in, Jax.
Being 56, the math just doesn't add up anymore. When you're 25, 30, or even in your 40s, you can survive
Oil
divorce.
money or powder
It's
money.
brutal, sure,
Powder.
but you've got time.
Shout out,
you can
Caesar.
work harder, you can stay late.
Shout out, Caesar. Yeah, sounds like he's talking about gray divorces now. Oh, hey, Mountain Man, thank you so much for that super chat. Appreciate that. I'm going to add that $199 to my dowry chest. Hey, Shaw, do you know if prenups hold up in court? You know, in my experience as a child support officer, we didn't have to care about prenups because they just didn't apply to what we were doing. So it wasn't something that like I saw a lot of, to be honest. Just from my research, you know, I know they can be challenged, you know, and I would never sell one as, you know, like, I guess when I think about it for myself, if I put myself on the line, I would be willing to get one only because I think it forces the conversation of who's bringing what into the marriage. You know what I mean? And more people seem to be doing prenups nowadays, at least as far as people getting married. Whether it holds up in court, I'd like to think if you do it all properly, it has a chance, but you know, it could still cost money to have it held up. So if you're gonna get married, probably better to have the prenup. So I wish I can give you more, you know, actual data information on that, but I really can't. So just being honest with you, I do have a video after this by Pearl. And she talks about, she reacts to a bunch of videos of women who had signed prenups that the women regretted signing the prenup. So the videos she's reacting to in this 10-minute video will show women where the prenups held up. So we'll watch this video after we finish the one that we're listening to now. So sound like a deal? Dowry definitely made women more desirable for marriage, but most women didn't have it and they still got married. What time frame and where are you talking about? Because I don't know, that's very opposite to what I've been reading. But I'll be interested to see kind of where you're gathering that from. So yeah, I don't know about that, Elena, but yeah, I would like to see where you're getting that from. I mean, if you're talking about like after the romantic period, then yes, that's true. Or prior to bride price, prior to dowry where it's bride price, then you can say that also. But you're making a big claim there, so I'd like to see it. Also, if only women who married had dowry kind of contradicts hypergamy. Women marrying up and men marrying down. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm definitely pro dowry. If only women who married had dowry kind of contradicts hypergamy. Okay. I think I get what you're saying there, but if you clarify, that might make it easier. Klaus says that is not how it was done in Europe. Even the poorest had to have some dowry to marry. Listen, Elena, the reason why what you're saying doesn't make sense is you're basically saying that most of these women didn't have any inheritance. So the dowry was a woman's inheritance regardless of how big or small. So it's not just for the fact that the men you know, wanted a woman to have a dowry. It's also the fact that is part of her inheritance, not part of it. That is her inheritance when she gets married. So there's no such thing as like it was just rich people, because she had to get her share of inheritance when she got married. Like that was part of the law in a lot of places. So to not have the dowry would be to deprive her of that. That's like one way to look at it, basically. They didn't have a dowry, or they had a small dowry for a man in her same class. Yes, if they didn't have a dowry, then you're basically talking about a very poor marriage. But for the most part, people wouldn't sanction that marriage because they're going to fail, basically. It doesn't matter if she's, she's a virgin. The virgin part, honestly, is kind of like very gynocentric, but she's a virgin and all these things. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, and then that gives her value. That's actually gynocentric thinking in a way, you know. So she's a virgin, so now she, deserves to be married. Well, married to who, basically? One of my cousins got married in his mid-20s and got divorced within a year. They had one of those giant fancy weddings, and everyone thought they'd last for a lifetime. Wow. Yeah, man, that's a shame right there. I've gone to a couple of, I don't know if actual weddings. I've gone to a pretty large engagement where they ended up not getting married at the end of it. because they would do the engagement like a year prior. And that one was like, oh, damn, man, they spent all that money. Hey, Suvaya. Oh, another $2 for my dowry chest. Thank you, Suvaya. I appreciate that. Gonna save all $2 of that. Every dollar helps, you know. And then once I have a nice large dowry, I'm gonna swing that. I'm gonna go on the marriage market. I'm gonna be like, okay, let's see what's out here. You know. Thank you for that. Women got married without dowries, but basically were turned in as slaves, and their families would get money from the groom in return for their daughter. Not sure we go that route, dowry only. If you were like very poor, yeah, maybe you'd get sold into slavery. That's pretty much a concubine, though, is what you're describing. I think if we put it more simply. Cesar Quintana says, Elena, the reasons Russians put their shoes out during Christmas is because of the dowry and St. Nicholas. Yeah, there is just too many sources I ran into that show that women were more likely to end up as spinsters. The only other way is like if the church or some rich benefit, like somebody gives you a charity for your dowry. So there were a lot of charities that gave out dowries. Where what you're saying, Elena, starts to become true is as romantic chivalry starts to take over like England. Then suddenly they start getting married without it, basically. And those very poor women, like they're working and they're working actually. And that money that they're working and their brother's working to try to save some money, their dad's working, the extended family is working. Maybe some people donate some money in order to get the daughter married because it's so dishonorable not to have one, you know. Not even just dishonorable, it's just like, how are you going to set up the new house for these two people? Like, yeah, the guy could do it, but it's just going to be imbalanced, basically. Elena says, yes, I understand. A small dowry would make sense for the man within her class. Yes, exactly. And then this goes to hypergamy because this is what actually solves the problem of hypergamy, because then it creates this kind of upper and lower bound for like where matches should be made for certain strata of people, basically. So if she doesn't have a dowry, she would be working to save something, or she would definitely probably be working after a marriage if she happened to get one, but she would still probably come with some kind of a dowry. But yeah, you know, when things started changing and suddenly, you know, all the romantic novels started going everywhere, then you start seeing that. But that's like, then you get the love match, basically, you know. Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Shot. No worries. Thank you, Elena. Yeah, and again, real quick, just thank you for the super chats, Mountain Man Tops, and for the dowry, Suvaya there. Appreciate y'all. Okay, moving back in.
Late, you can earn it all back because you've got time and you've got the energy to start again from scratch. But at my age, I don't have another starting over in me. If I got married again and it went south, I'd be what, 61, 62?
Dang.
Trying to find a place to live, trying to figure out how to retire with maybe half a pension? No, thank you very much. I've already...
What do you think most Americans feel about the dowry? Are they supportive, against it, or neutral? Honestly, I'd say probably as a knee jerk, you could almost say against it because it just sounds so foreign to them. I think when you really explain it to somebody, then it starts to make sense, you know, and then they're like, oh, and then the harder the economic times get, then it also starts to make sense. You know what I mean? And that newspaper article I read about the Depression era kind of shows that. Like, the American culture, they're like, they have this certain kind of work ethic. They have this certain kind of view of masculinity that is colored heavily from a romantic chivalry that's a carryover from what England was doing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't as openly practiced, you know, because there is a cultural shift. But the Americans know that this is how it's done in most of Europe, basically. But it's different in the U.S. And it's interesting because it brings up this conversation of how Americans view freedom and independence from your parents and all these kinds of things. So it's a fun conversation there, basically. Yeah, so, but that's part of the fun for me. Like, I just love explaining it because, you know, the US, especially when you look at like the traditional conservative side, they love to throw that word traditional out. And, you know, Matt Walsh, people like that, they'll be like, for thousands of years, it was one man and one woman. And it's just like thousands of years. As soon as you say that, you have stepped into my neck of the woods. You know what I mean? And then we get to have a fun conversation, basically. Yeah, but when you say, like, what I think about your question is, like, it offends this very specific American brand of masculinity. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like there's a lot of fun conversations to be had, because then it kind of takes us into what this men's space has been, and what the men's space has been pushing back against, and what the men's space has been wrestling with, not just with, the rest of society, but also within the sort of male consciousness and male sort of understanding of things like masculinity, you know? Thanks for that question. The Jax Ali says 99% of the population doesn't understand dowry. Relationships last 2,000 years, the history of marriage. Disney and nudie videos hurt society. Is there any way for things to return to balance in relationships? I believe there's a way to create a kind of upward pressure for some people. I kind of understand why Paul Elam says, you know, like when he starts his Repairing the Manosphere podcast, that first episode, he says he's talking to the 1% of the 1%. And ultimately it's like, I think in the environment, people are kind of searching for a strategy. And if some people find one that works, they will be successful. And then people will see that that strategy worked for them. So it won't be like the majority of people in the beginning. But I think, especially if we're going through some rough times, which is basically like almost the Depression era, and there isn't this big prosperous golden age coming to us within the next 20 years, I can say at least I think people will have to be way more pragmatic about the way they do this stuff, you know? And the other end of that, if people don't want to do that, it's like they're going to have to rely on the state more. So you either want stronger families or you want a stronger state that just pays for everything. And then we all live like, you know, a bunch of nomads living off of a welfare state or something like that, which is kind of where like one half of the country wants to go. And unfortunately, the other half that's supposed to be kind of bringing us back to traditionalism just wants to go back to a certain thing and then stop there. So, you know, it's an interesting conversation. Yo, Caesar, man, $20 super chat, man, that's more than I deserve, bro. Thank you so. Oh, my bad. Did it again. Thank you for that, man. That's going straight to the dowry chest. So we got $24 added to that. And Caesar, I appreciate that. I swear, man, you've done way more than enough, you know, than I ever deserve. So thank you again. Despite what Evo Psych BS artists say about men's version of hypergamy being beauty and fertility, men back in the day always rejected beautiful virgin women who had no dowry. Yeah, they would have thought something was wrong in their head. It's really not until like the chivalry stuff comes up. It's kind of interesting too to think about at least how virginity has been viewed over time. Like in bride price times, women would just get married like dang near as soon as they hit puberty. So it's like this thing about virginity is not like, yeah, maybe it was to some extent important, but at the same time, it's like there's very little guard time, meaning it's like they hit puberty and then it's like they get married. Dowry comes on and it pushes back the age of marriage a little bit to like, you know, you could say like 17, 18, 20 or 19, 20. And that adds a little bit of time where, you know, there's puberty and then there's the time they get married. So the family has to invest a little bit more energy to kind of ensure virginity and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's women who weren't, you know, virgins. And if they had a significant enough dowry, you know, someone might overlook that, you know. But then there's like your romantic chivalry and there's the love novels, which I feel like take virginity to this other level that I think a lot of people still kind of view it at today in some ways. That'd be an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, thank you for that, Peter. Appreciate that. Communism. I mean, yeah, if the state's going to be the one that's handing out livelihoods to people and taking care of people and you just got this giant child support arm, then it's kind of like a backdoor. It's like a backdoor socialism, I guess, maybe. You the man, Caesar. Thank you for that. I know. Big shout out to Caesar. They also live shorter, no medical advancements. Many women died during labor. Yeah, I mean, you know, people could probably step on a rusty nail and die. But yeah, it's a different world. That's true. It's a different world. Moving in.
Restarted from zero once. I've already lived in shared houses and watched the money I worked for walk out the door for years. I did that when I was younger and I still could do it then. Now, time's up. I want peace. I want to know that when I go to sleep, I don't have to worry so much about what's going to happen next.
I wonder if it sounds like he probably had kids. I don't know if he mentioned that earlier part. I don't think he did. Oh yeah, he did. He does have kids because he talked about the custody situation. Yeah.
Married again at this stage would be like betting my entire life savings on a coin flip. Actually,
which is his dowry.
According to certain study, it's worse than a coin flip because the failure rate for second marriages is even higher than for the first one. So why would I want to do that? Why would I risk everything I've spent the last 15 years rebuilding on what seems to be a dead horse? And don't get me wrong, it's not pessimism, it's just...
Why he would do that if she's bringing some significant assets to the marriage. Like, if he met someone and she's like, yeah, I own this house outright and I have this much in savings, and he compared it to his assets and what he owns, he might actually consider it and be like, you know what, this actually kind of makes sense right here.
Looking at the numbers and refusing to gamble with my life.
See, he's looking at the numbers on his side. What he should also do is look at the numbers on her side. Is it as big of a gamble if she's coming in with some significant numbers?
Now look, I'm not saying marriage is a bad idea for everyone. I think...
Yeah, Orem, shout out to you, man. Cool profile picture, man. I like that broadcast tower. If you're allowed to sleep, the number of nights I was kept up until 2 a.m. answering for infidelity that I was only guilty of in her head were countless. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, there's another side of marriage right there that most folks don't hear about. Thanks for sharing that, Orem. It's always a pleasure to see you. Geoff Show says, Shah, what do you think would happen if every man demanded a dowry for marriage? Do you think it would fix the dating marketplace? Well, listen, if every man truly collectively came together and said, we're demanding this, it would pretty much crash marriage to zero. And it would be like a game of chicken, basically. And then the other thing that kind of adds to that is the expenses of the cost of living and stuff like that. Would it be like this magic bullet fix? I mean, there's still other challenges there. I think what it would fix is the marriage marketplace. There would probably still be a lot of effery going on, and there would be a lot of people who did not plan for the future and don't have such things. But basically what you're saying is like, it's basically like men, like all men walking away. And I think if that happened, the other side of this equation would have to come to the table, or they would have to try to institute some very draconian laws to tax the hell out of bachelor guys and like institute some kind of a wealth transfer. Essentially, we have this kind of prisoner's dilemma, you can say. And then, the question also revolves around like, would it kind of eliminates the issue of simps basically, because you're saying if all men did that. It's a fun what if thing to think about, but I think it would ultimately create a better deal for marriage for men on the other side. Yeah, you should marry a rich wife. This might sound silly, but in short, a prenup is basically a legal contract that outlines how assets, debts, etc. are divided, right? Well, you can say that, yeah. A prenup essentially is outlining what assets each party brought into the marriage, what happens to those assets in the event of a divorce. And it can also have other things in there like, okay, if we're married for 10 years, you will still get $100,000 or something like that. You know what I mean? The interesting part about a prenup that I think is important is that it forces this conversation that is reminiscent of the old marriage contract discussion, basically. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, more or less the way you're describing it, I don't think is wrong, but it's who's bringing what and what happens to certain assets in the event of a divorce, right? Because there's the assets you have before the marriage, then there's the assets you guys accumulate during the marriage together. There's her Labubu collection. There's your classic car collection that you had way before her. You know, there's your Instagram account that has 80,000 followers that you don't want the court to have a problem with and say that's actually half her account too, and things like that. So, you know, you could put a lot of stuff in a prenup, basically. Definitely a bachelor tax on the horizon. Well, with as gynocentric as this place is, I mean, I don't want to be negative, but that's definitely a way the pendulum can swing. I remember those times, not very fondly either. I hated the silent treatment for infidelity, quote unquote, in her dream that I supposedly engaged into. Effing insanity. You know, Luke, the first thing I think about when I read your comment is like, it's almost like a projection. I wonder if it's kind of like this for Orem too. It's like, okay, she's sitting here accusing you of this when like you yourself know you have not engaged in any infidelity. You're like, where the hell is this coming from? I can almost be willing to think, you know, like the women who do that, or even the people who do that, might even be engaged in that activity, but they're like blaming the other person. Titty boy, the Romans did create laws for single men right before the collapse, but it didn't fix the marriage issue. You know, I was watching a video on that today. I actually saved it in the playlist, and it was talking about that. And one thing that was interesting in the video was there was a change to as far as women's rights over the property. He didn't mention it, but basically what he kind of said is that men stopped having management or usufruct rights over the women's dowry. So I think that made it to where like the incentive for the marriage to them wasn't as great as it used to be. He did mention the dowry system in the video I was watching. But he was talking about that because basically, yeah, Roman men weren't getting married. And they tried to create laws to really punish men if they weren't married, I guess with taxes and things like that. So yeah, great point there, Titty Boy. That is very true. I keep Titty Boy. Just keep in mind that prenups get shredded all the time. In a gynocentric society where laws are against men, prenup is not a guarantee. It's definitely not a guarantee. In the video with Pearl that we're going to watch next, it has some examples of ones where the prenup held up. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
That needs to be said. There's really one time where I think it actually makes sense, and that's when you're starting a family. If you're in your 20s or 30s and you're bringing kids into the world, I get it. I really do. When you have children, you want that stability. You want a solid foundation for them, that legal setup.
I think that marriage is really supposed to be, you know, about that too, is helping with this reproduction of the family, you know. And what's so crazy too, like that, you know, that Dave Ramsey clip with the 300K, it's like the wife is upset that she doesn't get to have the 300K in the divorce, but it's like, if you think about it down the line, it's like your children are going to have access to this 300K. You two come together, you guys have children, they're both going to inherit the property that either of you have. So it's like, this 300K is in dad's name because it's his inheritance. If he's agreed to be monogamous with you, where's that 300K going to go in the end? It's going to go to your children. It's like, who cares if you're not going to get this in a divorce? Like, the fact is it's supposed to go, you want this to go to your kids. Like, that's supposed to be a big deal, you know? They are currently discussing higher Social Security payments for singles over here. Only problem is this would affect single women too. I see. Yeah. So the question is like, I hate to make this accusation, but it's like, how do you put it on the men, I guess? You know what, they can almost say like, well, if you're childless, well, I don't know, because if you're a legal parent, they can almost, if you got the majority custody of the kid, then it's lower payment for you, where it's higher for the one who has less. That might be one way to sneak it, but I'm not sure. I'm just kind of playing around with that. It is kind of a single tax. They just call it different. If they could swing it that it would only target men, it would be in effect already. I think it boils down to who has custody. Yeah. So anyways, okay.
We call the marriage is basically forcing everyone to be all in for the sake of the kids. It's not just about you and her anymore. I've been there, I've done that, and I completely understand why the law is set up to keep a family together. But for me at 56, that chapter's closed. My son is grown and I'm definitely not planning on having more kids. And Once you take the family part out of it, I don't see the point anymore. If there aren't any children to protect, you have to ask yourself, what is the contract actually for?
Man, I completely forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, won't someone please think of the children?
Thank you. Thank you for that, Caesar. I had to go do something, but I'm back and left a source that the Google AI overview cited saying how dowries are illegal or something like that. I'll check that out.
Without that one big reason, the risk just doesn't make sense anymore. Look, I'm with someone now. I love her, but I'm not getting married again. When people hear that, they think you're
Okay, sorry, just putting this here.
keeping your options open, but it has nothing to do with that. It's not about having a backup plan or her not being the one. I've just realized that love and a legal contract, they aren't the same thing at all. They should.
Okay, I'm looking at this. Dan the Man, this is the source Dan the Man dropped in. So I have read something about this before, Dan. Basically, the U.S. law courts don't have anything specifically about dowry. But in some Islamic marriages, the issue of dowry comes up. But you got to understand the way that they use the word dowry isn't like the kind of dowry we're talking about. It's actually a mistranslation. They're more properly talking about dower, which is an amount that the husband gives the wife. And it's not a bride price. It doesn't go to her family. It stays with her. And in some of these Islamic divorces, the husband is basically saying, you know, that he paid this amount and he wants that split or whatever. Now, of course, the courts are so gynocentric, they end up just letting the wife keep it. But that's what this is. Like, when you see this, it's not the kind of dowry we're talking about. It says, yeah, Muslim couples marrying in the United States, a dowry or marriage gift from the groom to the bride. Okay. I'm trying to see where you saw the word illegal at. So they evaluate it under contract law, not religious law. Mr. Pitt, brother, good to see you. Yeah, so it's not explicit. This still doesn't say that anything like that's explicitly illegal. It's just basically saying the courts have to understand a way to handle it because they don't usually see it and they don't have anything in the law about it, essentially. But thanks for sharing that, man. I appreciate you. I left it in the Discord server. Yo, man, always good to see Mr. Pitt in here. Heck yeah. All right, moving in.
Shouldn't even be part of the same conversation. One is about how we treat each other. The other is a set of laws that a court enforces if things go wrong. I don't want to mix those two up anymore. I don't want a third party, the state, sticking its nose into my relationship and telling me what I should or shouldn't do if it doesn't work out. For me, not being married doesn't mean I'm less committed. If anything, I think it's the opposite. I'm with her because I want to be with her, period. I don't need a...
Oh, I see. I didn't say illegal. I said Google AI overview cited this and then said dowry are illegal. Man, see, that's the issue with the AI stuff right there. AI, like the Google AI stuff is useful sometimes to kind of get a quick answer. But there's a lot of times where I find it sometimes saying stuff that when you look at it, it's not exactly it. But, you know, thanks for sharing the source though, man. It's good to look into it just to make sure. In Italy, it's illegal, but gifts are acceptable. Roger that. Thank you, Gio, for show.
piece of paper
Gio, are you in Italy, bro? I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool.
or the threat of a massive legal bill to keep me in a relationship. The love is the real part. The paperwork, at this point in my life, I can do without it. Look, when I got married, I loved the feeling.
I'll have to look at that about Italy. I didn't know it was exactly prohibited. I thought it was just abolished. I had found a couple articles from when they got rid of the dowry, which was around the 70s, I believe, 1970s. And what in the articles, what I read is that they abolished it basically. Just to get rid of the problem of trying to, because what happened is they allowed divorce in Italy in around the 1970s. And there was an issue with the old dowry laws because they didn't interface with this idea of divorce very well. So they abolished it. but I didn't read that they made it illegal. So I have to check that out. I got into a fight with GPT just today regarding a question in Relatively. It had to admit I was right. It sounds so confident even when it's wrong. Yeah, I've noticed that with some of the AI stuff, which kind of makes me a bit reticent. I know I shouldn't be such a Luddite about that. So, you know. Shaw, where is dowry still accepted in the world? You know, there's just really places where it's just not illegal, but some places have it outright prohibited. Like in India and Pakistan, it's actually like in the law that it's illegal. But a lot of people still end up doing it anyways in this odd way. So like really the way I look at it is in places where it's not outright prohibited. I have heard from you know, you guys remember De Augusta. He was mentioning to me some stuff in Spain that, you know, it still happens amongst some families and stuff like that. So interesting stuff, you know. I'm in LA. Oh, you're in LA. Roger that. Shout out to the folks in LA. Google had cited 4 sources. I posted other 3. I don't know if they are good or not. I'll check them later. Banned dowries completely in 1975. Okay, so let me see. Under Article 66 of their civil code, any contract or agreement to pay dowry is illegal and void because the country overhauled its laws to ensure total legal equality between husbands and wives. Man, they really went hard over there in Italy. Dang. Well, thanks for letting me know. I'll have to look into that a little bit more later on. Yeah. Gosh, let me see. I'm just kind of curious about that. I like to kind of know as much as this as possible. Article 166. Italy. Dowry. Yeah. Is legally null and void. Okay. So, again, now we're using the freaking AI. Does that actually make it illegal, though, Gio? Or basically what it's saying is that the law can't enforce any dowry agreement. But that doesn't mean that you're going to go to jail or something like that for having a dowry. Is the thing. That's the thing I'm trying to clarify, because like in India and Pakistan, if it's prohibited there, like you could actually go to jail for doing that. But if it's just null and void, it's just saying that if you went to the court and you're like, well, this was the dowry, they're going to be like, we don't even care about that. Sorry. Community property or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? But it's not going to be like, oh, well, we're going to enforce it as if we actually had dowry laws on the books like they used to. So we got to be careful with when we're using the word like explicitly illegal or prohibited. This one says just declares it legally null and void. And this actually matches with what I've read, because what I've read is that they abolished it, which is different from saying that they made specific laws to make it actually illegal, you know. Okay, yeah, the law doesn't recognize it. Basically, apparently no penalty. That's the important part, because that's different from prohibited. Google AI has screwed up quite a bit when I used it. I prefer ChatGPT for deep reasoning and working through problems, and Perplexity for quickly assessing general consensus. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people kind of they have a lot of trust in the AI stuff. I'm so used to like reading and stuff like that. Like I'm just used to doing that. You know what I mean? Because I was doing that, to be honest, before the AI stuff. Not like I'm some amazing researcher. I'm just trying to say like my habit is to do that. So when I read anything from AI, I'm always like, I don't know. Let me look into this deeper. And then there's times where I've caught AI just being wrong, and I'm just like, man, you know what I mean? This is what I get for like. So I just kind of have a little bit more of a reticence nowadays, you know. All right, we're almost to the end of this one. We're gonna see the comments, and then we're gonna go to that Pearl video.
I wasn't just some guy dating her anymore. I was a husband. It felt like I was finally a grown up. And that feeling was real. I'm not denying that. But when it ended, that was real. Losing the house, spending years just trying to get back to zero, and the hardest part,
trying to get back to zeros. It was like way in the negative.
There every day with my son, that was tough. The wedding ceremony lasted a day, but the consequences, I felt those in my gut for 10 years. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-marriage at all. I'm just saying you have to understand how much weight that piece of paper actually carries, especially if you're a man. People act like it's just a natural next step, but it's a massive legal gamble. My advice, read the contract, really look at the risks. If you see all of that and you're still okay.
And by contract, what he means are the actual legal codes. And then reading the legal codes is one thing, understanding the legal codes is another, you know.
With it, just go for it.
Like, actually probably meet with an attorney and say, hey, can I talk to you? Can I pay you for like a couple hours to kind of review this with me? Like, that might be the way to go, you know?
Whatever you end up doing, just make sure it's your call. Because if you don't make the decision consciously, you'll end up following the script.
Yeah, you know, this was a good video. I appreciated this video. Sorry, I'm just trying to pause it. Okay, yeah, let's go and read some of the comments, then we'll get to this Pearl video. My dude has a cool mix of French and English accent. He kind of does, yeah. It was a pretty cool accent. Shout out to him. I'm going to give him the thumbs up, man. Yeah, I might even subscribe to him. Sometimes I end up just sort of unsubscribing later, but, you know, I try to find 2 good videos from a creator before I hit the subscribe. That's always been my little, like, my personal rule. But, you know, I want to see this guy get 2,000. That would be nice. Not that he needs my help. I'm sure he will make many more amazing videos. Excellent habit. AI isn't at a point where you can really depend on it yet. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's really good for scraping information and helping you find things to look at. But when it comes to like synthesizing information and giving you this cogent understanding and argument, it's not there. What it's really doing is it's scraping a bunch of common sense understandings that people have put out there. And most people's common sense understandings of a thing, in my opinion, aren't really that good. So it just gives you like what the herd thinks about this. And that's what it's using. And I don't know. There's probably times where AI performs better, but I'm just a little skeptical of it in certain ways, or, you know. This video is basically a man waking up from the Matrix at 55. Yeah, you could say that. I'm using AI at work and learned quick if you ask something that you always have to double check. Yeah, exactly. It works pretty well if you give it data to process, though. I could see that being a better thing. Like, hey, check out these sources, AI. Can you tell me if it mentions this or what? Synthesize it. I could see that. I mean, that's probably a better way to go. I watched my dad go through 4 divorces. Let's see here. Okay. I knew how it worked from a very young age, possibly better than a lot of lawyers. I swore I would find the right woman and I would get married and stay married. Okay, my wife and I have been married since 1990 and both our sons are men now with their own families. I married an attractive woman a couple of years older than me whose parents were married their whole lives. She didn't like chaos and wanted to build something solid together. She has been a loyal wife and I could not be happier, but I went through several crazy, backstabbing, chaotic cheaters before I found my gal. Okay, well, shout out to him. Sounds like he understood the issues with divorce. So, yeah, that helped, looks like, inform some of his decisions. The toughest job a man will ever have is staying married. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I was just interested in his response. Broke cycle. I think what you said about your wife not liking chaos probably more important than people realize. A lot of us confuse intensity and compatibility when we're younger. Peace can feel boring till you've lived through enough chaos to understand its value. Really glad you found your gal and built something solid together. Irish man living in the Chicago area here. I was with my ex-wife for 20 years and I was 48 when I got divorced. Okay, yeah, sounds like a great divorce. I had 4 children with her. I lost my paid-for house and paid 2 years alimony and 10 years of child support. I rented a room in a shared house for 3.5 years and even lived in my work truck for a spell. Financial recovery takes a long time for a blue-collar worker. I'm 65 now, and I honestly can't say I've fully recovered. But I do have a paid-off, much smaller house and some retirement savings. But the cost of divorce was enormous. I have a great girlfriend for over 10 years. We live separately. I don't think I could get married again. Yeah, I mean, that fits the picture right there. Too late. Smart men have learned the lesson from the misery of others. We were young with no money but ambitious. I had to marry her to have intimacy because she was a virgin and had other options if I didn't want her. I made the decision after 4 dates in 1 month. 36 years later, best decision I ever made. It helped that we were young with no money and that she had no body count. The character matters much more than looks, although she's very attractive. Great partnership. Ally, friend, lover, mother to our children. The quality of a marriage is directly correlated to the devotion of both partners. Rare. Good luck. Don't kid yourself. Women know exactly what marriage is. It's the bros that need to wake up. Yeah, see, this is important. Martin Etienne looks like a familiar username. Not sure. Massive legal contract. A contract. Okay. Never done it, never will. Ain't nobody getting my house or pension. Luckily, I realized this reality early in life. Divorced at 22. Okay, yeah, so he got divorced when he was still younger. And had nothing built up financially yet. We had 1 son together, and I told her I would fight for him due to her wanting to live a party life. She left me my son and took the stereo and little cash we had in the bank. She took the stereo, huh? Dated many women for 7 years, but knowing what could happen in a divorce, never married. Finally found a woman living in the Philippines, living far from the city, and did a thorough background check on her before I went to see her. Luckily, she had friends and relatives living here in the U.S. 2 kids, and 28 years later, still very happily married. Okay, so he kind of became like a passport bro and brought her back. Marriage is hard work. My focus is on her when I come home from work. You know, a lot of these success stories, like I guess the nature of a success story means they met in an earlier time before dating apps. But there is a part of me that's like, okay, this was 28 years ago. You know what I mean? Like this was, you know what I mean? Like this was like in the late 90s. It was a very different time. But, you know, so be it. Okay, maybe it can happen, you know, maybe. Before I got married, I had her sign a prenup and a quitclaim deed on my house. That gave me a massive advantage in the divorce. I still had to pony up $7,500 for an attorney. Okay, so this guy had a prenup and it worked for him. So interesting. Welcome into Oikophobic. Okay, so, and my credit was wrecked by bills that she hid from me while, this is the worst right here. Being married to somebody that just spends a bunch of money on garbage. Like, and you don't know what they're spending money on. That's terrible. But as far as divorces go, that was a win. It took me 5 years to get my credit back where it was. And another 2 to 3 to get it to a high rating. Not only will I never get married again, I will never couple again. It's just not worth it. I think this is some pretty interesting advice right here. Getting a prenup and a quitclaim deed on my house. This seems like like not just a prenup, but also the quit. So if you're coming in with the house, like maybe look into this right here. It probably means that they can like not make a claim on it, but that's something to research. I did a quitclaim deed too. Very easy when no kids involved. Okay. Yeah. See, that's something to look into. I need to educate myself on that. Just found your channel as a divorced dad who decided to man up and fight the monster I had to get away from. She expected every penny I had plus the kids full time. No way. I hired the best attorneys and custody experts. Although it was years long, very expensive litigation. I mean, yeah, you know, Father X has talked all about this on his channel. Nightmare. I got my house back and custody of my kids. Okay. No child support or alimony. She must have been like she must have been doing something very questionable for him to end up like getting this. Like it sounds like it took a lot, but shout out to him for being successful on that. She thought she had it all planned out to leave me homeless. Well, she left what she brought to the table, nothing. This also sounds like, I mean, this is almost hard to believe, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Don't give in and be weak men. I did it to save myself and my kids from an abusive, narcissistic, evil gold digger. If she wants out, show her the door. Take that beast you married to the cleaners. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of amazing things on this guy's story, but, you know, maybe. If a man doesn't understand the meaning of his role and responsibility, believes he's being exploited for all his possessions, and views family responsibilities as insignificant, he is unworthy of marriage. Okay, here comes the Here comes the gynocentrist and even true love. It seems that almost everyone fears losing possessions or belongings more than building a truly good family. All right, TradCon. Allowing the fear of losing money, houses, cars, all of it is deep down an overriding selfishness. Okay. This guy's trying to be amiable here. I actually think there's, I actually think there's some truth on both sides of this conversation. Building a strong family does require responsibility, sacrifice. No long-term relationship survives it, but I also think many people speaking about divorce fears aren't necessarily selfish. A lot of them are speaking from painful personal experience. I lost everything through divorce, including the house I'd worked so hard restoring. Separated in 2010 and the last legal machinations happened in 2019, so I had to start again and try and rebuild since then. I'm 53 now and I will never sign that contract or cohabit again. If I had to go through the divorce process, will be the end of me. Gosh, this freak comment right here. Well, then, the term marriage, you're losing your possessions. That means you don't want to build a true family. That's what that sounds like. Real quick, we got 25 viewers and 21 likes. I appreciate everybody who hit that like button. The other 4 of you, if you can put down your iced tea just for a second, pick up the remote and hit the like button, that would be fantastic. Okay. We should watch this Pearl video because I think it's pretty good. So let's go and watch that. Do you guys want a little bit of brain rot? Okay, hold on a second. Let's watch a little bit of brain rot before we move on. And before we do that, I do want to ask a poll. Start a poll. Do you think men are better at doing do you think men are better? Let's see. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is, like, like when you see the trad wife trend and like you'll see the women like cooking. Like, do you think men, if they really put their mind to it, that they can do it like even better than like a trad wife can cook better than a trad wife if they wanted to? Or if they put their mind to it? Question mark. Okay, we'll just leave it yes or no. And we'll go for there. Let me just pull up these other videos. Just some shorter brain rot today. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Let's see. I don't know what it was. Something about this guy's videos just got me. Like, I was just like, what the hell? All right. Let me just look at the comments real quick. Be a real man. I stopped listening. I know. That comment was so cringe. My issue with marriage is at its origin, it was never about romance or love. It was about making children, labor, and family alliances. Yep, it's about the reproduction of the family cycle. It's about property transmission. It's about, good relations with the rest of the community and other families. It's about a lot of things like that. Now it's about paying the government and corporations. The quitclaim is basically when one party relinquishes right to the house. Once that was done, I refinanced in my name. Got it. That's really good to know. See, that's something that I think a lot of people don't know about. At least me. TradCon simps can't help them. Exactly. There had to be somebody in there. Well, then you just don't deserve to be married. You're just selfish. Okay. Explain to me, TradCon con men, what does society provide that is compensation for men that they have to be slaves on whose backs everything rides? Exactly. You can kind of say, like, what's in it for men in that way? Okay, guys, I'm going to leave the poll on, and we're going to watch this. This is from Bob Dickinson, and this is a short from Bob Dickinson. Breakfast ideas when you cook from scratch.
This is what it's like cooking from scratch on a daily basis. If you're new here, I'm Bob, and this week I'm showing you everything I make for breakfast for the week ahead, so we can wake up and have something ready to go on a busy morning. Breakfast is often the meal we don't bother with, but it involves some of the most delicious
I'm just
food.
going to tell you right now, I've seen enough tradwife videos, and it's always like, the same stuff, and I watched like 2 of this guy's videos, and I'm like, I've never seen a tradwife produce anything half as good as what this guy's doing.
I start by making a big batch of blackcurrant jam. You can pick these wild or grow them yourself, and they're in season right now, and this year it's been such a bountiful harvest. I don't add as much sugar as most jams, only as much as I need to keep it preserved, and I know all through the winter when I'm eating this on my toast, I'll be grateful I spent a few hours now to make it this summer. Of course, there is no
Dang it, there's music in the background that might screw me.
point making jam if you don't have anything to put it on. So while I leave that to bubble away, I get started on some bagels. The recipe is my standard bread recipe I share on my page, but the characteristic chewiness of a bagel comes from boiling them. It got pointed out to me by my niece whilst I was making them that the holes look a bit smaller compared to bought ones. And it made me think how we often set the food we see in the supermarket as a standard of how food should look, or taste, or be, and that's just not the case. A homemade bagel is not going to look like a mass-produced one, but to be honest,
This just goes
I have an
on.
in-depth video on my
This just
page
goes on.
which I shared a few weeks ago. Try. So supply on tap of the
And look, he's got his own honey.
prepare some eggs and honey roasted ham. This style of ham starts with cured pork, which you boil. The honey I'll be using we jarred a few nights ago, and we seem to have a constant
There he
supply
is being a beekeeper.
on tap at the moment because of all the flowers in bloom. As the flowers change throughout the year, so does the flavour of the honey. Once the pork had boiled, I cut off the rind but not the fat. I then added some whole cloves, star anise,
So he's
and an extra
doing his
dribble of
thing.
smell it through each morning. I've had a glut of
Look at all his eggs from the chickens right there. See, every time you see a trad wife, show her, show the eggs she collects. They're all the same size. It's like they're supermarket eggs.
Egg bake, which I could keep in the fridge and take a slice out each morning. I've had a
see the differences in the eggs right there. That's what a true traditional egg, collecting, session looks like right there.
Glut of courgettes recently, which I left to get way too big. So I grated one of those, squeezed out the water, and added some sun-dried
I've never seen a trad wife making stuff like this.
tomatoes,
It's
bacon,
always like cinnamon rolls, or they're just holding a basket of store-bought eggs.
and a nice spoonful of fresh Greek yogurt. All these things do take some effort, like anything worth doing, but once they're done and you put them in the fridge, for the next week or two you'll be so grateful you have them. And finally, if none of that does it for you, and you have a real sweet tooth for breakfast, there's one thing that might satisfy. I promised last week I would share the recipe for puff pastry from scratch, so here's a real breakfast treat. I made some custard and I added a dollop of the new jam we just made to make a makeshift Danish pastry. And believe me, if you have this waiting for you with a cup of coffee...
Okay, so shout out to this guy. Let's look at the comments real quick. The comments say Bob is the farmer, supermarket, butcher, cook, baker, and everything in between. Just amazing. And then it says, if I had all the time in the world, I'd love to live like this. It's giving husband material. 11,000 likes on the husband material comment. This is what real happiness looks like. Okay, now before the accusations come in.
No, not the rainbow version.
Okay.
Never mind. That says rainbow.
That's not true. I watched more videos, and he is married to a woman.
When I get the call, which says my wife is going to be home soon, cold and hungry after a long day at work, it's not the time for me to ask her what's for dinner. Though we both share the cooking, there's a time when you just come home exhausted and would love to have something ready for you when you get in. And tonight,
I'm just saying, this guy beats any trad wife I've ever seen on the internet out of the water. Somehow, even the stuff that the women are supposed to be better at, I guess, according to the Evo Psych bio wizards and the Tradcon gynocentrists, I don't know. Look at this.
And first things first, you're going to need a cup of tea and a snack when you first walk through the door. I like to make up a roll of shortbread biscuit dough to keep in the freezer for special occasions. And in my family, a welcome home cup of tea is special enough. You see, I don't consider a snack extra work. Instead, it's part of my cunning plan to get dinner out on. Now to get started, cornbread. I mean,
it just goes on,
don't need many of these.
He's got
They're
his chilies.
Now to finalize everything.
There's some cornbread. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Best part about having them cook for you is that they'll
and
always
a waffle
be a pudding,
too,
no matter what.
Oh,
we all
with
know
the
the
cast
saying,
iron
life
waffle
is short,
maker.
so eat dessert first. And as cliche as that may be, I think they are rules to live by. Even just simple waffles give you that little bit of something sweet after your meal to wrap it all up. Of course, what is a waffle without a topping? Earlier today, I went picking hazelnuts in the forest, but unfortunately for me, the squirrels beat me to it. You can even see their little teeth marks in this one, but their need for hazelnuts is greater than mine, so I was happy to return home empty-handed. So I used hazelnuts I had in reserve to make chocolate spread, and I was only 20 minutes late to get dinner out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, shout out to this guy. Yeah, I just wanted to show you that I cannot let my wife see this channel. I'm convinced he lives in a magical forest. Oh my god. Bob looks like the happiest, most content person ever. To avoid any food waste, I volunteer to eat anything you make, Bob. My wife likes a bit of spice in her food, so these are the chilies I grew for her. Sir, you are the standard. His mother raised him well. I'm sure he had a father too. Come on. Oh my gosh. My wife and I share the cooking. Almost made me cry, realizing I deserve better, and I'm just avoiding the fallout of leaving. Oh man. Okay. God forgive me. Maybe I shouldn't make fun of that comment. Anyways, he's the man you read about in the classic romance novels. He even has the long curly hair for it. Man, I don't know if this is what these people really live like or if they're just playing to a certain audience, but there was just something about those shorts that just had me thinking, is all I'm saying. 100% of you said yes, by the way. Do you think men can cook better than a trad wife if they put their mind to it? Yeah, I agree. And I think this man is the proof. I haven't seen any trad wife cooking videos that match what this guy is doing at all. So, shout out to Bob Dickinson. Bob Dickinson. Okay. Bob Dickinson. Okay. Yeah, there's a guy on IG who got popular super quick saying being a stay-at-home parent is easy. I saw that one. That's Michael Bolton. Bagels. I know, bagel does sound really good. Marrying a trad wife is great, but only if you set up a prenup. Getting married to a trad wife is the most risky of all marriage. Yeah. Getting married to a woman who makes the same as you is the least risk. I can tell you that's true as far as the divorce fallout goes. I've seen plenty of divorce judgments to corroborate that. That's what I'm making right now. Bob is crushing it. The Sir Isaac Newton is gold. I wonder if she had any dowry. Well, it said she worked, so they probably both work and both cook. I wonder if he actually, well, his social media at this point is probably, bringing in a substantial income. That was just curated social media. I think Luke has the right of it. I think he does. But at the same time, it's like his curated social media blows out the trad wife curated social media just out of the water completely. It's like, damn, can the trad wife's social media people at least step their game up to match what this guy's doing? All right, so we're going to have some fun. I like this video from Pearl. She's reacting to some TikToks of women who regretted signing prenup. So let's see why they regretted signing the prenup.
When I signed that prenup, I signed away my rights to everything.
Good.
Did you bring anything? You signed your rights away to everything, but did you bring anything? Did you have anything that was tangible and actually a material asset that you brought to the marriage? Because it sounds like you didn't give anything up, but let's see.
Good, as you should. What up, guys? Welcome to my reaction series. Today we're reacting to women that regret signing a prenup. So a lot of women in life, we take L's, and one L is wanting to rob a guy. It's obviously the wrong thing to do, to rob a guy and ruin his life, but women want to do that, and it is kind of an L if you try to, and you just cannot succeed. So let's see what they say. Okay.
All right, let's see what's going on here. So we got the first lady.
I wish I had thought about when signing the paper, because again, I was signing, not really thinking about divorce. But the one thing I would change is the fact that I didn't put anything in relation to housing and all of that after the fact. So there was nothing about housing that was stated. But of course, it's going to benefit him more because he was more established than me. So everything.
So he was more established than her. So he brought all the money. He brought all the stuff. He probably had a house or some kind of property because he was more established than her.
You come in with basically is what you leave with, but all
what you come in is basically what you leave with. Yes, that makes sense to me.
Community property that would be divided. Community property,
except for community property. Okay, yep.
Property is all the stuff that was bought or whatever while you guys got married. We had separate businesses. I started a business when we were married. It was established that that business was mine completely. If y'all don't know, I was a personal trainer.
Okay, so she had her personal training business, and then it was established that her business is her business and his business is his business, is what it sounds like. And so she was probably like, yeah, I got my business, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but it probably didn't really make as much money as what the guy was doing. Especially if she's out here making this video.
And I had my own. So all that gym equipment was mine essentially. Of course, there was an undisclosed amount of money that I would receive.
An undisclosed amount of money that she would receive. That sounds kind of weird. It's like you think you would know what that amount is if you signed the prenup. So that's odd.
I bet it wasn't as much money as she thinks. I bet she wasn't making as much as she thinks.
Or I had, once we separate, that debt would be that person's responsibility. So my debt.
Okay, so her debt's her debt, his debt's his debt. Sounds like it makes sense.
Would not be on him. His debt would not be on me. When we did the post-up, I had to go through everything.
Okay, so they did a post-nup.
That we own, like jewelry and bags.
See, I like this. So they're talking about the post-nup. So this is where it's like, you have to know, what are your assets? What are you bringing? What is his assets? What does he have?
Basically list each item and their value, and we spoke about like the stocks and anything like those. Like basically whatever was mine would be mine and I would be fine. So like,
yeah, okay, so you're fine. So what are you complaining about? Okay, and whatever he had and that was his would be his.
Anything he bought me, all that stuff, 100% mine. Like I said, the only issue we had when shit hit the fan, it was basically like, okay, because we didn't get to buying a house. We were in the process of doing that years ago. It fell apart. We didn't get around to.
Damn. So, yeah. Okay. So they were almost gonna buy a house, and then he was just like, you know what? I'm not really appreciating what I'm seeing here. I wonder who was gonna buy most of that house. So basically, they were gonna buy a house, and it was probably gonna become community property if they were gonna buy it together. And I don't know if she's gonna tell us why it didn't go through, but I wonder who was putting what in it.
That, and in the post-up, the house that he owned would be his or whatever, which was fine.
The house that he owned would be his because he owned a house of his own. That was not hers.
So
I'm glad she says, okay, that's fine.
That's the only thing that we had to negotiate, basically, like, how would we go about this? And he basically paid like 1 year rent for me, and that was it.
Okay, yeah, so that was once the divorce happened, so he supported her for a year for a place to live.
Top of my head, I can't think of anything else because I don't have the document anymore. Maybe I can check my email if I need to be more specific. But like I said, the only thing I regret not doing is talking about the living conditions. Because when you are signing a prenup, you have to actually think like there is a possibility of divorce. I wasn't thinking of that possibility. So I was just like, let me sign. The prenup had...
I don't know. I think she kind of makes it, she's kind of selling it that way because that might have been her angle to say, well, I didn't know what I was signing. But okay, whatever. We can give her the benefit of the doubt.
A separate undisclosed amount when we did the
she's more mad that she just didn't get the money.
Pretty much, yeah, just like Luke Nielsen saying here. So basically he had his stuff, then he helped her set up her stuff, and now she's mad because she can't have his stuff.
Was raised, which is really good because at the time, like, that was fine, but of course luckily he changed that, and again, all the terms were complete.
Hold on 1 second. I want to see what she said there.
Sad that she just didn't get the money.
That amount was raised, which is really good because at the time, like, that was fine, but of course luckily he changed that, and again, all the terms were complete.
Even if you give women money in divorce, they'll just spend it. I mean, they won't know what to do with it. All right, let's see what's going on with this lady.
All right, so next one.
Comments on my prenup post, calling me stupid and saying how dumb I was to have signed that prenuptial agreement. But let me tell you.
Okay, here we go.
Why I did sign it. So I met a man who's 20 years older than me, who was
20 years older than her. Okay, so that's another way of saying he had a lot more financial assets accumulated and was probably bringing to the marriage than she did.
In a deadbeat who.
Oh, hold on a second. Deadbeat.
Prenuptial agreement. But let me tell you why I did sign it. So I met a man who's 20 years older than me, who wasn't a deadbeat.
Who wasn't a deadbeat. Gosh, like, I don't know. She's kind of put that in there to, there's so many deadbeats. All right, whatever.
Who had a nice career and
had a nice career. Okay, so he had the money.
Was ready to settle down and was ready to have kids. And so I thought.
Yeah, she came in there and she's like, yeah, I'm ready to be the trad wife.
I thought I hit the jackpot. Yeah.
She thought she hit the jackpot. Okay, so the hypergamy, sirens were blaring. It was time. This is the time. This is the guy. He's got money. Here we go. He's ready to start a family.
Like most women who find a good man with a good job and he seems like he's ready to have kids and settle down.
I wonder if this was her.
I have no dowry. If anything, I have a negative dowry.
But okay, was she ready to settle down?
Yeah, I hit the jackpot. And I was a teacher before I got married to this man.
Okay, so modest income. We don't know if she had any savings or what her debt looked like.
I made $41,000 a year.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty modest, but I'm not sure what year or where this is
As a
at.
teacher in South Florida.
South Florida, okay.
I didn't have any savings. I didn't
Had no savings. Okay, yeah, so
I have no dowry.
okay, okay.
have any assets to bring into the marriage.
No assets to bring into the
I
marriage.
have no dowry.
So you see how she's speaking the language? That's because the prenup forces her to think like that. Like, oh, okay, so I have no assets to list in this prenup. So we could just leave that blank, Mr. Attorney, sir. My side has no assets. I have no assets to bring into this marriage, basically. Let's hear that again.
Teacher in South Florida. I didn't have any savings. I didn't have any assets to bring into the marriage. No.
No, yep, see, there it is.
And he has a business and all of
Yeah, as a bit, yeah, there you go. Okay, so yeah, okay.
this stuff. And I didn't want any of it. All I wanted was to marry the man. I didn't want
Okay. Well, all right, but yeah, she signed the prenup. Shout out to her.
his money. I still don't want his money.
Okay, so well, let's see what this video is going on. Says the little caption here on the bottom says, I signed it because I loved him and wanted to. Okay.
It's not about that. So the prenuptial agreement, I was, I guess, lied to
She's gonna basically probably, if I recall, can't remember, probably about not getting alimony or whatever.
by him and told that it protected me. I did
Prenups do protect people. I mean, they protect both parties, but like if you got nothing to protect because you know, you got
I
this,
have no dowry.
then you're probably gonna feel like, oh, well, it didn't do much for me.
not know that I wouldn't have any rights to the house. I didn't know.
To the house. What house? It's not your house.
I have no dowry.
You know what I mean? That's his house.
Yes, I was dumb. I was naive. I grew up in North
So
Carolina.
she thought she was about to come up so hard. See that? And this is an example of the prenup working.
With a mom who has never owned a home. I didn't know anything about a deed.
Okay, so she's telling us more information right here. So she's coming from a family that like knows nothing about wealth. Look at this.
I didn't know. Yes, I was dumb. I was naive. I grew up in North Carolina with a mom who has never owned a home.
I grew up in North Carolina with a mom who has never owned a home. So by omission, sounds like her mom was a single mother. We didn't hear about dad. She grew up with mom. Either they got divorced or maybe she was born out of wedlock. They had no money. The mom never owned a home. And, you know, she said she brought no assets into the marriage. There's probably no inheritance coming her way. You know.
I have no dowry.
So
I didn't know anything about a deed or a mortgage, nothing. I knew nothing.
yeah, and you were lucky to meet some guy with a decent business and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
And no, I did not educate myself before.
By the way, Dave Ramsey is coming in with his cape to try to save this woman. Like this woman, if she called up Dave Ramsey's show, oh my gosh, he would just be like, "You're a princess." Man, I got to get that sound effect of Dave Ramsey basically saying, "You're a princess. You deserve so much more." That would be a good sound effect too.
Find it. Looking back, hindsight's 2020. Yes, I wish I would have known what I was signing.
Well, yeah, but you know, he would have probably rejected the marriage at that point if you didn't want to sign.
And I did have a lawyer who was given to me by his lawyer.
Okay, so she had a lawyer to explain stuff. But apparently, so it sounds like he also paid for her to be able to consult with the lawyer. She probably could have got a lawyer, but either didn't want to spend the money to do it. All of this right here, the way she's talking is it sounds like she's been thinking for months. How can she say she was coerced and pressured and signed something she didn't know how to do? Well, and then the lawyer, it was actually a lawyer that his lawyer found. So it's like she didn't want to do nothing. She didn't want to even do the legwork of talking to a lawyer. She was lucky out of this man's good generosity that he paid for her to talk to a different lawyer from his own. But I think what she's kind of explaining is what she was trying to tell the judge about why the prenup shouldn't hold, almost, you know.
I wasn't bringing anything into the marriage.
There it is. Wasn't bringing anything into the marriage.
I have no dowry.
I want to hear that again.
I did have a lawyer who was given to me by his lawyer. In my eyes, I wasn't bringing anything into the marriage, so I shouldn't get anything out of it.
There you go. Yeah.
I wasn't.
I mean, you know, to be honest, yeah, shout out to that sentence. Okay. Okay.
Thinking about my future or having kids. I was.
So what were you thinking about? Just this rich guy and.
Was excited to marry this man, and if I needed to sign a prenuptial agreement to marry him, then I was signing.
Yeah, so I bet she had genuine desire for him at the time and was willing to do anything, and then probably, you know, friends got in her ear, became disobedient later, and then took that L and, you know, got divorced. Happens.
I let love blind me, and
I let love blind me. So it's like, this is like the opposite side. You know what I mean? When it's the women, the other side, usually typically, you know, it's the man. Coach Greg Adams' famous maxim here of men are in love, women are in business. See, this is when the men are in business. Ah, dang it, my chat thing went down. Just a second, legends. Just a second, legends. I got to bring this back up. Just a second. My Google Chrome failed. Oh, the stream ended. That sucks. Oh, man. What the hell? That's weird. Oh, no, it's still live, actually. What the hell? Guys, can you confirm real quick if the stream is still up or not? This oh, nah, I wish. She wanted the lifestyle. Let me see. Guys, please confirm if the stream is still live. My bad, guys. I had my YouTube studio crash on this side. I don't know why. Like, the last, like, few months, it's just been like this. Stream works fine. Okay. If you don't mind me asking, Klaus, did you guys experience any gap or any kind of drop in the stream, or was it live the whole time? Just so I know if this happens in the future, then I don't have to like worry about it too hard. All good. Shout out Odisu. Haven't seen you in a while, man. Shout out to you. Thanks for coming in. Stream is working great. All right, hell yeah. Well, we're in the game. So sorry about that, guys. I had this thing crash on this side. I hate it when that happens. Shout out to the folks out there who are watching the stream right now and supporting the stream. We got 23 likes. We got 20 concurrent viewers. We got $23 in super chat. Nope, no interruptions. Perfect. That's all I needed to know. Thank you so much. All right, back in.
I saw everything through rose-colored glasses, and I never in my entire life thought that this man would do this to me. He was my knight in shining armor that came and saved me, and he was going to take care of me as I take care of our kids and him and our home.
Shout out to
you. And
y'all.
then
thank you.
When he gets old, then I'll get to take care of him. But obviously, we're not going to get to that point.
Thank you, Klaus.
The only thing that I would have changed is I would make sure that my name was on the deed to the house that we built together.
That we built together? What do you mean built together? Like, was she out there with like 2x4s and, you know, putting insulation in the walls and, you know, screwing in outlets and stuff and grouting in between the tiles? Like, what do you mean built together? You mean like where he had a house and he purchased a house and you just showed up and decided that you wanted a new kitchen and he paid for restoring it? You know what I mean? Like, you decided you want granite countertops because you like that. Or that, you know, you wanted the bathroom redone or something to be changed. You wanted a gazebo somewhere in the backyard, or the house we built together. Let's hear that again. I got to hear this one more time.
I would have changed is I would make sure that my name was on the deed to the house that we built together after we were married.
You know how you make sure your name is on that is by putting some money down on that house. All right. That's what you need to do. You need to put some money in. Okay. And then once you do that, then you can say, oh, well, I'd like my name to be on that too, because I put some money in. You know, that happens when you don't show up to a marriage like this.
I have no dowry. If anything, I have a negative dowry.
So, I mean, she needs to not be complaining. She's lucky that this guy was sitting here paying for all this stuff, you know?
That's it.
Yeah, the house we built together. She probably meant the decorations inside. I mean, yeah, if anything, like, you can take the curtains with you on your way out of here if that's what you want. You know, you can take some of the decorations you had in the hallway or whatever, but come on now, you know, built the house. Damn. So you were out there with like knee pads, like, you know, with the little scraper, making sure the cement's all nice and smooth, you know, on that walkway into the house, and you were getting the driveway all set up, and you built the house. Damn, the house we built together. I love how women always take credit for stuff men do or copy them and act as if it was their own. I've had to deal with a lot of that with my sister growing up. See, you know, in some ways, there's a blessing to have a sister growing up, because you can kind of probably see some of that just from your youth and be better equipped in the future. If you're an only child or like you have only brothers, then, you know, you probably won't understand stuff like that for a while. Maybe. Yeah, depending on your family, if you got cousins and stuff, but you know. If only he made her pay for the dates. I'm here. Shout out Wicophobic. Thank you. Gamer says, what's up with all these simps marrying below their level? Yeah, we do gotta be honest here. I mean, he found this woman, her dad wasn't in her life, and he was like, you know what? But, you know, he was good on him for having the prenup and all that stuff, just making bagels. Man, see, now a bagel sounds really good right now. Like Bob does. He's all the rage tonight. I know Bob, I'm probably going to go back and watch some more Bob videos. I mean, the stuff he's making is on another level.
At 27 years old, when I signed that prenup, I signed away.
She was 27. It's like, you're 27. You're a teacher. That's old enough to understand what you were doing?
At 27 years old, when I signed that prenup, I signed away my rights to everything.
Good.
She signed away her leverage to get money out of this guy, or
Good.
More money.
As you should.
Anything.
He was 20 years older, so it's like, okay, he already had a life before you.
Exactly.
Anything that he had before our marriage, anything that he makes or grows or builds during our marriage. And then I signed away all of my rights to anything after the marriage. So like people are talking about
after the marriage, what would you, okay, alimony is probably what she's talking about here. Yeah. Okay. So she also agreed not to get alimony.
Retirement and Social Security.
All right. So
the retirement stuff. You know, I was wondering that too. She didn't mention anything about having kids. So that's another thing. Any children? Didn't mention that. Bet she put her part in, like ordering pizza to get her husband being fed to build. Yeah, she's just like, oh, honey, I'll go out and buy some food. You know, while you're sitting here and like, you know, trying to get this place carpeted or whatever he was doing, painting the walls on the house or something. For F's sake, are they adults or are they children? We need to hear the guy's side. We definitely need to hear the guy's side for sure.
let's see what's next.
Okay, so
I don't
that's
even know
that
what
one.
that is. But I don't get any of it because I waived it. I waived alimony. I waived any kind of spousal support. I waived everything. For this house, it specifically states that
Okay, so she's still in the house?
And his trust will always own this house. Yesterday,
Okay, shout out to the trust. I mean, so the trust will always
I asked
own
him
the
again
house.
if there's anything I could do to get my name on the deed. He said no.
So she's sitting there, they're getting divorced, and she's asking her, how do I get my name on the deed?
Yesterday, I asked him again if
Yesterday, so they're getting divorced. Look at this.
will always own this house. Yesterday, I asked him again if there's anything I could do to get my name on the deed. He said no.
Why is she asking him that? Like, what? Aren't y'all getting divorced?
No, period. I mean, I don't know if they're. I signed it. Like I signed the paper, and it just is what it is. I don't expect anything other than child support. And
Okay, yeah, so, you know, prenup's not gonna help with that. But listen, much easier to focus on child support and custody when you're not losing the house you built, or having to pay all this other stuff. So, you know.
the fact that he's not wanting to give me child support after I signed away literally everything
I don't know. I'm really gonna have to hear his side of that.
is shocking.
Sometimes people try to use child support as a pseudo alimony. She might also be saying that he's not trying to like yield custody to her or give her majority custody. Maybe he wants like 50-50 custody. It sounds like they're getting divorced and he's letting her and the kids still live in the house, but she will never own the house. So it's almost like he's still kind of doing her a solid by not kicking her out of the house. That's my guess. It almost sounds like that because she's still in the house and she's still trying to figure out how to get her name on the deed. Sounds like he's going to pay child support. I don't know. There's something interesting here.
What do you think? Put in the comments what the real version of the story
Yes,
is.
exactly.
Was it I was so insufferable and I've made his life a living hell? And yes, I signed the prenup, but I tried to fight it with everything I had, and I'm only asking for child support after making your life hell. Like, what is the real story if this sounds like your ex-wife?
To me. Like everything.
And now she's out here on TikTok trying to like she's trying to get sympathy that way. Who knows? Like she seems to be searching for the answer here, you know?
I waived everything.
You waived everything, but you brought nothing, you know?
I have no dowry.
Except child support, because you can't waive child support in a prenup. Because it's not mine, it's my kids.
Yes. Yes. My kids, our kids, excuse me, our kids.
But yeah, in my prenuptial agreement, I waived everything.
You know, it's you and your ex-husband's children there. It's, you know, you want to use our there.
I waived
okay,
it all.
fine, my kids. All right, my kids.
Thinking that
I get it. You might just say that sometimes.
I would be protected, and that
protected from what?
And that I was marrying was a good man.
Oh, so now he's a good man. He's Mr. Bad Man now. He's just so bad. He wouldn't give me half his house that apparently we built together.
And he would never do anything to hurt me.
How's he hurting you?
But people change, feelings change, love changes. And people can
Yup. That part's true right there. Love's about, 3 to 7 years.
lie. So
Hate to say it.
If you're
at least the kind of romantic chivalry style one.
a female,
If you're a female, oh, here we go. If you're a woman, if you're a girl, damn, she said it. Man, that could almost be a sound effect right there. Check this out.
love changes.
Right here.
And people can lie.
Right here, right here.
So if you're a female, if you're a woman, if you're a girl and you are watching this, protect yourself.
Now, what she needs to be saying is, to be having a dowry, you don't want to be going there like this.
I have no dowry.
So
If anything, I have a negative dowry.
see, that's the advice they need. That's what they need to think about.
Protect yourself.
It's never always protect yourself and never figure out how to make your marriage work. Women are incredible.
Young woman
Yeah, protect yourself from this, your husband and oh my gosh. But all right, so be it. I want a pic of the guy. Only way I'd put up with this is if I was butt ugly. Oh my gosh, gamer. Collectively as men, our standards are in the gutter. That's why I tell my girl, no dowry, no ring. Man, shout out to you, Gio, for show. No dowry, no ring. Does he get her retirement from teaching? Just go live your life. Exactly. Why did she make this video? What does she hope to gain? I think she's just hoping for it to go viral and maybe like, oh, he's such a bad man and get validated and all this kind of stuff. She just wants comments saying she's right. Yeah, gamer. I think gamers picked it up a bit. Let's see. Odishu. Gamer, you got an interesting profile picture. I'm wondering what game that's from. At first I thought it was Among Us, but it looks like a different game. Shout out to you, man. Putting pressure on the husband to get more out of the divorce. Yeah. How would this pressure get him though, bro? Nothing. Yeah, the court of public opinion. That's what Coach Greg Adams talks about. I don't understand how people think they're entitled. The part she's leaving out is that she didn't waive everything. She wouldn't have gotten married or had anything either. Exactly. So yeah. This reminds me of the girl that tried to drag her dad's name through the mud on social media. Yeah, that was Pearl interviewed him. Ben Hart, I think it was his name. It was the breakdancing guy. And I think he was also a speechwriter for some presidents. Shout out to him, man. He was an interesting guy. And then he came with the receipts too. Like, I actually reacted to one of his streams. Yeah. And he wound up responding publicly to clear his name. Yeah, he had like all the childhood pictures and stuff, everything. So, yeah. She and the kids are living there, but gets child support. Well, my guess is that he's probably living somewhere else and he's just letting them, which would be very nice of him to do. I've also seen cases where the parties are living in the same house, but they looked at it as 50-50 custody. There must have been some extra stuff going on there. It's not impossible, but it shouldn't happen like that. But it's not impossible is all I'm saying. But she did mention he was fighting against the child support. So if he's still living there, then that might be one reason why he's fighting against it, you know? So I don't know. It's tough to say. We don't have all the information on that. This is how women exploit their kids. This is why men should have 100% custody. Yeah, child support can be used as a kind of pseudo alimony. Putting it out to the world to see and probably pushing it to his side of the family. Saw that several times with coworkers. Anyways, let's go ahead and just move. Minecraft Creeper, LOL, just under blue light. Okay, got it. Shout out to you, man. Thanks for letting me know.
To me, or a middle-aged woman come into me and she has a prenup that cuts her out totally. What do I think? I think it's so sad. I am so sorry. And
again, this is the whole complex. Like, everybody's trying to convince women to be terrible people. We can't really be shocked that women do it, right? It's like everyone's saying, the lawyers are saying, the judges are saying, the girlfriends are saying. So it doesn't really shock us that we just become awful people.
I feel like the bad news bear.
Yo, Gio, for sure, you got it right here. If women are going to have hoe phases and then ask for marriage, the least they could do is have a dowry. I mean, the least, right? But what they want to do is have the hoe phase and then come to you like this.
I have no dowry.
I hear you.
If anything, I have a negative dowry.
I really hear you.
I am telling them that what they
people.
I feel like the bad news bear when I am telling them that
Shout out
what
Amy
they
Sherry.
signed is what they're going to get. Nothing.
Ami Shari. Yeah, so I one of the reasons, I mean, this is I appreciated the videos that Pearl picked here to react to. But this also shows that sometimes prenups do work, but you know, yeah, they can be challenged. They can even be tossed out. If you're going to do the prenup, probably best to be really educated on the proper way to do it. We watched that video with James Sexton, I think last week. Might have been 2 weeks last week. And, you know, he recommended prenups too. So if you're going to get married with the state, good idea to have a prenup, you know.
Whose wife gets paid more child support? A, husband makes $100,000 a year and spends every dime. B, husband makes $100,000 a year, saves $50,000 and spends $50,000. C, the husband makes $100,000 a year and spends.
Yeah, it's going to be the one that saves the most money, pays the most. What I've seen.
Well, I'll be honest. The way child support here is calculated is by income. So even if that guy spends all his money, they're going to say your income is $100,000 a year. The calculator says you owe this much money. So they have to use real income to calculate monthly child support based off the income, regardless of his savings.
The system really punishes men that are responsible and rewards men that are irresponsible.
$200,000 a year. Which husband pays more child support?
If the income is the same for all of them will pay the same amount of child support as far as what's ordered based off their income.
I'll tell you in the comments, you will not believe the answer. If it's purchased during the marriage.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's see. I think that's all of them.
Gamers got it.
All right, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching and like the video.
All right, well, shout out to Pearl. Shout out to Just Pearly Things over here. Let's see what the comments say. Okay, I didn't want his money. Proceeds to complain about not getting any of his money. We built a house, but of course he actually paid for it. Kentucky implemented a standard 50-50 child custody default upon divorce back in 2018. That means no child support. Don't know if that's exactly true. It depends on the income difference, but we'll have to look at Kentucky's guideline. Since then, divorce rates have dropped substantially, but it would mean less child support since the dad has some custody. Almost like when you don't incentivize someone to break a contract, they stop breaking it. Okay. Marriage is currently the only contract where one side is incentivized to break it. It's not about the money, but it's really about the money. It boils down to, damn, if I hadn't signed, I could have had half his stuff. I knew nothing, and she's a teacher. She's educating people's children. My ex-wife got $250,000 when we got divorced. She quit her job and ended up spending all the money within 2 years. She has nothing to show for it now. And by the way, that $250,000 could have went a long way to the children's futures if they had children. That money could have grown, could have paid for the college, could have helped with the daughter's dowry. You know, you shouldn't have rights to his home, business, or savings. You didn't earn it. Turning into an alcoholic and complaining that you signed a prenup is diabolical. We built this house means, number one, I used his money to call someone to select paint colors, decor, furniture. Number two, I picked out the floor plan and he paid for the blueprints. Number three, I knew nothing about the construction details, sequence of events, etc. Number four, only complained about controls on cost, etc. Men don't get married without a prenup ever. They're all pissed they couldn't cash out like all their friends did. The house is actually his house. Funny how she worded that. The greed and entitlement of modern women just never stops. I signed away everything that wasn't mine in the first place. They are absolutely insane. Let's see. This is how the laws work in Scandinavian countries. You leave with exactly what you brought to the relationship. No more, no less. That is fairness. That is equality. Is that true about Scandinavian countries? Well, that, you know, I can appreciate that. Shout out to the Scandinavians. Wife spend years of her husband's income on stuff she wants, and that is community property. Okay, so that's the Scandinavian. Isn't Sweden very feminist? Seems USA is more man-hating. I don't know if I should like this because I got to confirm that. But, yeah. So, there we go. This Turk, I married a broke man, no prenup necessary. Now he does quite well and takes good care of me. Okay. Ditto here, happily married 38 years. We had nothing when we got married, 19 years old. Now we are doing well, close to retirement. Okay. Prenuptial agreements and DNA testing should be mandatory. It's sad, but true. All right, so we made it to the end of that video, which I thought was pretty good. And, okay, we do got this Wizard Liz video. This one we'll probably have to save for another time. This one just heck along. This one's 12 minutes. We could probably look at this, see what the deal is. I'll probably end the stream after this. How many people do we got watching right now? We got 21 people at 26 likes. I appreciate y'all, everybody who hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. That's a big deal. Let's see. Okay, yes, Scandinavian countries are much simpler with divorce processes. That's good. That's good. Okay. I really doubt that's true about Scandinavian countries. They're so cooked. Watch the documentary on divorce in Scandinavian countries. Okay, well, yeah, okay, what time is it? 9:26. I do have some chocolate milk in the fridge that I want to drink later. All right. Let's go ahead and watch this Wizard Liz video. I don't really know if it'll be good, but the story's kind of interesting. She's kind of like, she has like this big channel, and it was pretty much like a dating advice channel for women, but you know, it's all the same stuff, you know, that you can probably expect. How big is the channel? 8.5. Yeah, so she's really big, right? 8.5 million subs. Yeah. So yeah, now it's all about that. I remember like one of her videos from like years ago and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, okay, so that's her thing. So let's go ahead and watch her video. I really don't know that much about her other than she was kind of like one of these dating gurus for the ladies. So let's go and see what the deal here is.
You guys, we have some major updates in this Wizard Liz ex-Landon situation.
Oh, what the hell? All right, hold on. My bad. What the heck?
You guys, we have some major updates in this Wizard Liz X Landon situation, and honestly, the more details that come out, the messier and darker this entire.
You know what? I'm gonna try to find. There was a Reddit thread on this. Just a second, legends. Uno momento, legends. Real quick. Reddit. Oops, wrong one. So many emails. Reddit inheritance. Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, that worked out. Damn it. Man, they freaking deleted it. But you know what? They can't beat me. You know why? Because I screenshotted the hell out of that thread. Hold on 1 second. We're about to read it. Here it is. See that? I do have it. I really do have it. So, yeah, I got all of them. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? We'll just watch the video. I was going to make a separate video on this. But you know, let's just go ahead and see what the deal here is.
Entire thing looks. Let's get into it because Liz says she was naive and completely blindsided when it came to Landon, and now she has to deal with a narcissist like.
To be honest, it might even just be a case of like two possible narcissists. I hate to throw that word around lightly. This might just end up just being too gossipy for this to be, you know, entertaining, at least for me. But, you know, let's go and see.
Him for the rest.
To any woman out here, please learn from my situation. A man will fake his whole personality and lifestyle, even publicly, to win you over. And when you find out who he really is, the mask will drop and you'll have to deal. This is someone who gives dating advice. Like, how are you falling for this? Like, aren't you the one who's supposed to be helping people not fall for this? Anyways,
her life. She wants this whole situation to serve as a lesson for women to really vet the person they're marrying or having kids with, emphasizing you never truly know someone until their mask falls off. So for those of you not up to speed,
mask. I might qualify right there. That's enough makeup possibly to be a mask, but okay, you know, maybe I'm not got the right to say here, but whatever.
You never truly know someone until their mask falls off. So for those of you not up to speed, Liz is currently in Asia because her US visa expired, and by now we know she's asked Landon multiple times to bring their baby to another country.
I think this guy has absolutely lost his mind because I've asked to not post. Okay.
Country, but according to her, he's made endless.
So this is the guy. Okay, this is Romeo right here.
Excuses not to. It's also worth mentioning that he allegedly showed up with the baby the same day she was flying out, saying it's your turn to take him, despite knowing she legally had to leave the country. Now, Liz isn't an American citizen or resident, I believe, and if she had overstayed her visa, she could have faced deportation and potentially jeopardized future entry into the U.S. On top of that,
Great live stream. Stay shot. Take care, everyone. Talk to you soon. Take it easy, Elena. Have a good one. She has a powder mask. Lizard Wiz is just on some dumb manifest you go girl stuff. Thank you for that. I haven't really, I've seen like a clip of her stuff probably like 3 years ago. It's been a while, honestly.
Legally could not take the child out of the country without Landon's consent.
Okay, let's see here.
Her visa, she could have faced deportation and potentially jeopardized future entry into the U.S. On top of that, she legally could not take the child out of the country without Landon's consent.
Yeah, why would she be able to take the child out of the country? It's like when you have a child and you're cohabitating with someone in a certain jurisdiction and you're both legal parents, you can't just take the child, you know?
Reportedly filed a restraining order preventing her from leaving with their babies. Now the conversation centers.
Wizard Liz is not a victim. I'm seeing an influx of Liz fans in this forum trying to portray her as a victim. She is not a victim. We are the victims. Let me remind you that she has lied and manipulated a whole generation of young girls still figuring out life. She has messed up our dating mindset with her tips. Okay, so these are her fans that are like upset with her. That only work for sex work type of relationship. Only that's why. Only. Yeah, because it's all about the gold. Like, that's kind of what I think her content might have been, is like essentially gold digging stuff without calling it that. Possibly. I saw that too. I think, yeah, I know what you mean, Don. I was looking at that. Okay, only. That's why her normal relationship with Landon didn't work out. That's an interesting thing there. She has instilled this manifestation BS into, hey, it's just like you said, Don DeMarco, manifestation BS into our minds instead of a work for it mindset. She has lied about her miserable life her whole career and trying to portray a fake life, and that you can also do it when it was all a facade. All while gaining a lot of money from our innocence and naiveness. She scammed her fans of money promoting a store that never shipped products. She promoted shitty apps. She spent investors' money knowing that Landon was scamming them. She is a narcissist who got played by a psychopath, a greedy who got played by a liar. We deserve an apology and she should delete her channel. Listen, I think what this person said here is pretty accurate. And the other thing about it is men have their own version of these kinds of gurus that really are selling the same kind of, you know, being kind of charlatans in a way to the men's side of things. But, you know,
around Liz's poor decision making that led her into this messy situation. A lot of people are criticizing her for preaching one thing on her YouTube channel, but not practicing what she preached in real life, especially when it came to marrying Landon and having a baby with him within just a few months. Although people are saying she lacked good judgment, particularly as someone who branded herself as this wise, self-development, high-value relationship guru, tons of people also feel really bad for her.
after going through her screenshot dump, all I can say is Landon sucks. He is so manipulative. I can see why Liz turned crazy. But on the other end, it's like when you got one schemer trying to scheme another schemer, it's like whoever's the better schemer probably is gonna get it, you know, win, I guess. It's like if you're just both trying to screw each other, like if you have this mindset where you're just trying to like sit here and be manipulative to other people, it's like those people get manipulated as well, probably even more so because they're so busy keeping up their own lies and schemes, you know. But you know, I don't know. It just kind of makes me think about that. It's so wild to believe an abuse survivor who had supposedly done the work and used to once talk healing, detachment, and strength fell for such an immature, manipulative C word. As abuse victims, the ones who worked on self, at least, are usually good at recognizing patterns and protecting ourselves. So is it that she never worked on herself and was faking everything? Or did her lust for money, rich man, override her red flag sensor? Also, I finally understand what you all have been saying about both of them being incredibly immature. They are literally playing an ego war, using their child as a pawn. They only want the kid to use to hurt the other parent and also win the social media narrative of being the better parent. Oh, and he's broke, like legit broke, my goodness. And to think she did all this just to secure the bag. So, you know, a lot of the stuff these people put out there is just such big talk. And I don't know, this whole advice giving space, but all right, fine, whatever, you know.
Because of Landon's manipulation tactics through all these text messages. In one part of her life,
I don't know, like, I guess, you know, anybody can get got, but at the same time, it's like she has a channel that's all about teaching women how to not, you know, get got in a way. I don't know. Maybe the best thing for her to do is just be like, yeah, I got, you know, and I was wrong and I missed all these things. And that gets us into an accountability discussion. Or she could have just been honest and been like, listen, I know I say all this, but I'm just going to go with love on this one and marry this guy. I feel like he's really the option that I want, I guess. And hopefully it works out. I don't know. Maybe a lot of the issue here was presenting the stuff she was doing in a way that wasn't accurate.
she ended up crying because of the sticky situation she's now entangled in.
The reason that your mom lives in a house, Landon, is because of me, yeah? Don't forget that. Like, I'm exhausted, guys. Like, I am literally... I am postpartum, okay? Like, I've been dealing with postpartum depression. I've had a child 6 months ago. I've done everything I could to raise my child, and I just want to be with my child.
I mean, you know, like, it's kind of a reverse situation. It's like men go through this so much to where they're trying, like, you can almost hear this and copy and paste this to, like, countless men who've done many things for women and probably gave money to their families, and now they can't see their child, and they're like, I just want to see my kid, and I don't got custody of my kid, you know? And now, you know, she's on the other side of this dealing with it. And you know what? She's the one with an 8 million subscriber YouTube channel. And yeah, she came with the money. And yeah, here we go, you know.
But this person makes it impossible for me. And he's constantly like...
It sounds like they might not have actually been married. Because if they were married, I wonder if she'd probably still be able to come in. So it sounds like she met this guy, didn't get married to him, which, I mean, is probably better for her if she's got all this money. I don't know what country she resides in, so it would probably be tough for him to get money from her like that. She might even be able to, frankly, evade child support depending on what country she's in. I can't remember where they said she was.
I'm trying to portray this narrative that, and I'm like, I don't want to even engage with these people. I don't want to engage with these mentally
Her
ill
problem is like she has to save face with her audience.
people that he invited into my life.
I hear you, Luke. Accountability. Are you insane? She can't take accountability any more than Superman can ingest kryptonite. I hear you. Wait, just I realized she doesn't have a visa. Where's she from? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because I don't want to like go online and have to explain myself or have to defend myself.
Well, I mean, it's kind of tough because like a lot of her content's so relevant to this, and you know.
It's like at this point, I don't know what to do. Like I've been breaking out like these rashes that I have. I've been having these like since months because I've been taking care of everything by myself. And I just don't know what to do anymore. Like I genuinely think like, okay, should I get back with him? Should I be with him just so I can see my child? But it's like, I fucking hate this guy. Like I
mean, yeah, there you go. This is the pursuing the romantic love journey right here. She's in the thick of it. Probably didn't really care about her parents' input on what she was doing, you know, for this. Just saying there's probably another way to go about all of this stuff, and this is kind of a typical story here. I mean, except for the fact that she was the one with all the money, it appears.
This guy, I have been tolerating this guy for a year now, after he cheated on me. Oh my god, like after he cheated me.
Okay, so she got cheated on.
So funny that he's even like acting like he's fucking like paying for everything the minute
it's such a like reverse situation. I mean, it's just interesting.
Cheat on me. He took back his credit card. He did everything. Like, that's it. He never ever gave me any money again. Nothing. And then he goes online. He's like acting like he fucking paid for my car. He paid for the house. He didn't pay for shit. You know you didn't pay for shit. Like, show me the receipt. You're a fucking liar. Like,
she also
this is the kind of thing, like, it's not really clear. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just kind of some social media type people, so it's like I don't really know who's lying, but you know the facts on the ground is that he's got custody of the child. She can't come back in the country. Let's see what's up with this Lambo.
Speculated that Landon might be gay because of the situation that went down with her brother and him complimenting her brother.
Hey man, check this guy out though, by the way. You know, we got an 8 million YouTuber over here. She's one of these like, you know, IG kind of baddie type looking women, and it's like it's this guy right here. So I mean, next we're going to find out that he's below 6 feet and he's just like a normal dude, you know, doesn't go to the gym, doesn't lift. I just looks like a really like normal guy, you know.
After he almost got beaten up.
Did put no money on this.
Bro, guys, can you imagine this guy? He came to my house, yeah, after the cheating, when I was pregnant. He came to
And he's cheating on her, dang.
He begged me. He begged me. He said like, please forgive me, this and that. He comes to my family's house. My brother is there. My brother, I had to restrain him from beating the shit out of him. Yeah. And he's literally like, I constantly have to hold my brother back because my brother was about to beat the shit out of him. And literally like, he yelled at him and whatever, and they almost got into a fight because he was literally beating him, almost trying to beat him. And mind you, he leaves my house. He messages me, wow, your brother is so handsome. What the f? So, a guy trying to beat you up, did that turn you on or something? Are you fucking weird? My brother literally said like, that guy is gay, Liz. Like, you are pregnant of a gay guy. Seriously. And I don't want to fucking like out anyone or whatever, but like, there's gay men that will fucking take out their frustrations on a woman because they're jealous of her and they want to be her.
Oh, no, not the rainbow version.
The fact
Never mind, that says rainbow.
that you say that my brother is handsome after he
I mean, I don't know. What does that say about her? Like, if she's kind of painting this out, you know, as this thing and making it a big deal, but it's like this was someone that you were ostensibly in love with, I guess, you know?
tried to beat you up, if that's your reaction, like, did your get wet or something? You're fucking weird. I can't.
Now, Landon did post an Instagram story explaining his motive for taking the matter to social.
All right, let's check out what Landon's got to say. I'm really sad about this whole situation. My heart hurts. I genuinely just want the best for my son. I want his mom to be in his life. I have no reason to lie about these things. I've already had my entire world shattered by stupid decisions I made a year ago. I lived the last year struggling with my self-esteem, with my drive, passion, self-worth always under her thumb, never being good enough, never to be admitted to the public or seen, always being told I've done nothing good when I was continuing to pour so much energy and effort into someone who said they cared about our family and fixing things for us and our son. She wanted to get married only if people couldn't know we were. I wanted to get married to ensure she could stay in the States so she wouldn't have to leave the country. Our son, even though I was regularly belittled and made to feel worthless than nothing. Now that his mom is out of the country, I expect her to check in on him, to want to travel to see him, to help support him as agreed, etc. And I've just been so frustrated to see that's not the case. At a certain point, all that matters is how things are in real life. And LARPing as a good parent or pretending like you care is completely different than actually caring. I don't understand how you can try to make me look like the bad guy that's keeping you from your son when you're not willing to travel to see him, but you are willing to travel to Japan and Korea. For what? I don't understand how the last few nights you were in America and you didn't even want to spend the night. You didn't even want him to spend the night with you. So yeah, okay, that goes on for a bit. I don't know why she is saying this. It makes it worse. She is saying all these possible red flags and still chose to have a kid with this guy. Yeah, in such a short amount of time. And, you know, this could happen to people, but it's just kind of an issue for her because ostensibly she makes, you know, a YouTube channel about spotting these kinds of things.
Media writing, I'm really sad about this whole situation. My heart hurts. I genuinely just want the best for my son.
I'm gonna skip
I want
this
his
part.
mom to be in his heart in real life. And LARPing as a good parent or pretending like you care is completely different. His mom is now willing to travel to see him and is trying to be in his life again. That's what matters to me. For what it's worth, I do feel sorry for the situation. This stuff shouldn't ever have to be public. I want the best for him, and I pray and hope this—
Hey, look, check it out. That's the Golden Gate Bridge right there, it looks like. So, okay, we're in SF. Am I seeing that right? Maybe it's, yeah.
may lead to a better life for him. Now, some people are
Maybe I'm mistaken that bridge. I'm tripping.
classifying this as textbook narcissism, especially all
All right, man. Check out the supercars. All right, so we got that YouTube money going to that.
over Reddit. He knew she had to leave.
He knew she had to leave the country in order to not be banned due to her visa expiring. He then ran to the court to get a TRO based on that argument fight where he had her arrested. So she legally couldn't take the baby out the country with her. He also refuses to exchange the baby in another country with her while she works on her visa. Then he ran online to say Liz abandoned her baby. Well, I mean, the risk he's running is that she takes the kid and then disappears to whatever country, and then he can't see the kid. Then he ran online to say Liz abandoned her baby. By the way, this is stuff that happens to men all the time. So now they're painting it as like this bad thing and using the courts to manipulate it. But it's like, this happens to men every single like day, frankly. This is textbook how trashy people move in custody battles. Liz isn't perfect, but I believe 1000% how slimy he and his mom are moving because I've seen it too many times.
Leave the country in order to not be banned due to her visa expiring. He then ran to court to get a temporary restraining order based on that argument/fight where he had her arrested, so she legally couldn't take the baby out the country with her. He also refuses to exchange the baby in another country with her while she works on her visa. Then he ran online to say Liz abandoned her baby when again he knows she had to leave because of the visa. This is textbook how trashy ass people move in custody battles. Liz isn't perfect, but I believe 1000% how slimy he and his mom are moving saying, because I've seen it too many times. This person says their children raising a child. Both Landon and Liz are immature. Landon cheated on Liz, got arrested, and now is sharing personal family business on Instagram. Liz is just Liz. I hope that child will be okay. However, Liz now has
Okay, here we go.
uploaded a bunch of Instagram stories following this, and it looks like she's severing ties with Landon because she is done dealing with this back and forth, and it's truly messing with her mental. Like, she's about to go insane. She doesn't want to talk to him anymore. She wants their lawyers to communicate from here on out.
My mom made a false accusation against my dad to get him arrested and a temp restraining order. Then she left with us to Polynesia. Took my dad a year, lots of money and help from FBI to get us back. Man, your dad is lucky that he was able to get you guys back. Like, I mean, honestly, like dealing with stuff through international borders like that, it's not a guarantee that those organizations would be able to help you. And it's also, a lot of it is because Polynesia probably just really cooperated. Where sometimes, depending on the country, they just might not, you know what I mean? So, wow. Man, that's something right there. Thanks for sharing that story. I think we kind of got the gist of this.
After he posted my son's face, I got worried about my child, reached out to him and said I would fly to Canada so I can be with my child for a week before I have to leave for my visa process. But then he told
it's a sticky situation. Okay, so he goes, drops the child off, then she just flies out of there. I don't know. Like, I guess maybe the kid will need a passport, but if the kid's traveling to see mom in Canada anyways, then the kid will probably have his passport. Like, who knows, you know, at that point.
me the child doesn't have a passport. He never got him one, and I couldn't since I'm not
Okay, so doesn't have a passport.
a U.S. citizen. So
Yeah.
he doesn't know if he could get him a passport to come see me on the 26th. Later,
That would be, I mean, unless you can get an expedited one.
he admitted that our court order and settlement states that my child cannot legally
Okay, so they have a custody order, and the custody order says that the child cannot legally leave the country until I get back into the U.S. for his safety. Okay, yeah, so the court's basically like, if we let you take this child out, the child might not, she might not bring the I'm guessing it's because they're thinking there's a chance that the child, she might flee with the child, basically, and say, all right, I don't care about getting U.S. citizenship, whatever.
leave the country until I get back into the U.S. for his safety. We both agreed on this through lawyers, and that was always the plan.
Okay, so they both agreed on it.
I then decided I'm not traveling anywhere and just going to follow court order and wait for my visa process. My lawyer advised me to stop any direct communication with him and just follow the law. I will stop engaging from here forward. This person wants a reaction out of me, and I refuse to deal with this any longer. She then posts screenshots where Landon says regarding their baby, he's actually a happy charm and his face makes people so happy. I'm proud of him. I want to be able to post videos and pictures with him in the future. Liz, on the other hand, is concerned for the baby's privacy and people making AI of her baby.
Well, you see, at the end of the day, it's like, that's up to the parents, I guess, and how they want to handle that. So he's a legal parent, she's a legal parent, unless there's a court order or something preventing that.
Which I completely understand, especially with the rise of AI and everything going on with the Epstein files. Like, there are sick people out there in the world. She said to say that his face makes people happy after I voiced my concern for makes me sick. On top of that, he made it clear
All right, I'm just going to skip past this. Let's go to this last video right here.
Wizardly situation, and this is
All right, let's see what this lady's got to say.
I woke up so freaking angry about this whole wizardly situation, and this is your prime example on why I hate neo-feminism. I keep
Why she hates new feminism, I think, is that what she said?
telling this to every woman around me, and they try to paint me as stupid and naive, when in fact I'm not. I've always known this. This culture needs to stop because it's the biggest scam for women. Long story short, the guy is weaponizing her kid against her. He took away her kid. He
Happens to dads every single day in this country.
owns her $150K. He was living with her. They kept dating after the cheating scandal. Actually, he didn't have any house, any car, anything on his name. Everything was fake. He always wanted to destroy her. The guy was crazy. And all this situation could have been prevented if she wasn't so freaking money hungry. When women tell you, I'm looking for a provider, men nowadays, they don't provide like they used to be. You think that the women back in the days, back then, were living a good life? You think these women fought for the rights that we have today because they had a big, a beautiful life?
I mean, it really depends on how they were coming. I mean, if they were in this
I
situation,
have no dowry.
it probably wouldn't have been, probably would have been a little bit tougher.
You think that feminism is about independence. You as a woman, you should go there and earn the money that you earn and not wait for any man to give you anything. This shouldn't be your first criteria in a man.
Was she not earning money?
You shouldn't go on the internet saying, I'm materialistic and I'm proud of it. This is not a fucking flex, because when you're materialistic and your first criteria is the money, you won't see the other signs. You won't see the narcissistic signs. Everyone that's been with a narcissist knows this. If you don't fall for the gifts, the sweets.
But anyways, you guys, that's the update on.
All right, yeah, so that's Wizard Liz here. Pretty big YouTube channel. This was from Spill Plug. Okay, her biggest problem is going for men who offer her money. It's her trauma growing up poor. Liz should have listened to Abby instead of suing her. Unfortunately, she's going to have to deal with some BS from this man for years. I mean, honestly, probably her whole life, right? They got a child now. Most important choice a woman makes is who she has a child with. He's going to use that child as a pawn forever. This proves that manifestation gurus are full of crap. Did she manifest this mess? Common sense is she should have listened to his ex. Okay. He is very clearly out to destroy her reputation. Okay, that's the reputation destruction. I've only loosely followed the situation, but I can't help but notice he seems to follow the same pattern of privately riling her up and then getting her angry enough to make an emotional, explosive public statement. It's funny how, like, all these women can see this so clearly when it's happening to Wizard Liz, but when it happens to men all the time, then suddenly it's like, well, I don't know if that's what's really going on. You know what I mean? So anyways, folks, yeah, I think we made it here. What are we hitting about? 2 hours, 55 minutes. I think we made it to the end, folks. 18 viewers, 26 likes. I appreciate y'all. Gonna try to make some more lunch casts for the people. Let me see if I can get a song going on. Where's my songs at? Man, where's my driving off alone? You know what? Actually, let's start it with this one. Okay, folks, we had a fun time tonight, huh? How about that? I think we had a pretty decent show, honestly. We had some good clips. Like that prenup video from Pearl was actually, like, that was really good. Thank you, Oikophobic. I appreciate you. Man, this is too good. Hope everybody has a good week. I might try to make a video tomorrow. We got some stuff coming down the pipeline, which is good. So, moving along. Appreciate everybody who came out tonight. Appreciate the super chats. Suvaya, Mountain Man Tops, Caesar Quintana, everybody else who came in, hit the like button. Luke Nielsen, Dan the Man, Don DeMarco, Gamer, Elena, Gio Fasho, Amy Sherry, Ami Shari, Oikophobic, thanks for coming in. Klaus, you're a legend. Absolute legend. JP, we didn't forget about you. Avalanche, Mr. Pitt, you're the man. The Jax Ali, Orem, TD Boy. Man, the song is too good. Alan, Kuru Vila, thanks for joining the crew here, man. If you want to join the Discord, you got an invite in the description if that's your thing. Remember, guys.
You gotta stay gaming, bro. Don't focus on no girl. Just stay gaming.
Was a good show, bro. Yellow Pilled Programmer, we appreciate you, man. It's always a blessing to see you. Thank you so much. All right, where's my driving off alone? That's Daria Revival. Oh, but I want the driving off one. This is a good song, too. Man, I haven't heard this one in a while, actually. All right, let's listen to this one. Daria Revival. Great live shot. Love this song. Thanks for bringing Gold Pill to the space. Man, thank you, bro. That makes me feel good, honestly. one step at a time, you know, one step at a time. Good show, Shaw from Dan the Man. Can't forget Dan the Man. Thank you, sir. Appreciate all the AI stuff too, man. It's always the best.
Riches in the mix, got expensive taste.
Warjax has entered our Discord. Thank you, Warjax. Shout out to you. Always a good time. Klaus, it's a blessing. I know how early you got to wake up to hang out with us, man. I do appreciate it, honestly. Hope you're having a fantastic day over there in Germany. Have a good one, people. Thank you, Luke. Have a good day. Mountain Man Tops with another super chat, man. Thank you. Gonna go straight to the dowry chest, by the way. Embrace your singleness, gents. I know I do. Thank you again for that generosity, Mountain Man. It means a lot. Makes me feel like one of them big YouTuber fellers. So thank you for that. Thanks. Have a quiet and peaceful evening, man. That sounds fantastic. This, man, we haven't heard this song in a while. Oh, it's my favorite part of the song right here. Man, I hope I just sit down tomorrow and crank out some more videos for y'all. That's what I need to do. I've actually been enjoying doing the lunch cast when I can. Sometimes I'm in the office, so I can't always do them, but when I'm teleworking, then it's I can use my lunch hour to do that, you know. They're supposed to be simpler videos, but sometimes I find myself like adding more to them. So, you know. You know what? Where's my driving off alone? Driving off alone. This one's for Mr. Pitt right here. Shout out to Mr. Pitt. This will be the last one. You can chill to the tunes I sent you earlier this week. Yeah, those were good. I was actually in the office when I heard that, and they were pretty chill. I appreciate you thinking of me, man, and sending those, honestly. Hope you have a fantastic evening and Sunday, tomorrow, rest of your week. Big chillin'. With the super chat.
You tossed my phone over some silence I hadn't shown. Then don't hit, you slid back in like guilt to leash. You tie your man, I'm at the
See you next week, everyone. Shout out Klaus. See you next week, man.
But I'm not fuel for your flame. My cup's too precious for your game. Oh, I dropped you right where the sidewalk is. No tears, no lies, just a clean break trends. You ran your seat, now the street lights gone. I'm driving off while you stand alone. No curse, just closure in my stride. Took back my hours, left your pride, your drama, war designer lace. But lace don't fix a hollow place.
I like to blast the song when driving. I know. That's what I got to do too. This is a fantastic driving song. Honestly, especially, I mean, I'll do it in the daytime, but even if you're driving at night too, this one's a banger right here. Guys, remember, check out Paul's podcast this Wednesday. Matt Cross will be joining him. It's going to be a good show. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. PST, Pacific Time. So check it out. All right, legends. That was a fantastic song. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Salute.